Welcome to Can Angels Fly, Tarot, and more. My name is Nancy, and today I'm here to perform an Aquarius rant for October. At this time, I'm about to check to make sure that my mic is working. Here to perform an Aquarius rant. The check is complete. Hello, everyone. Let's see if I can get this organized here. Hi, Yanni. How you doing? How's everything going? I'll be in now. I'm exhausted. Oh, my God. But thank you for dropping by. But get your rest. You need it because you be on the move. Well, I'm going live because I need to rant, number one. Number two, I'm trying to see if YouTube will allow me to have an audience at all. Because once again, the changes that are being made on YouTube, as well as the apps that I'm using, it seemed like it's making it even more difficult for me to get an audience, which is insane. But that's cool, because one of the things I realized is that I don't have a lot to say anymore. I looked back over my video catalog, that is to say, all the videos I've made since I've been here on YouTube, which has been over 2,000 videos. And I realized that everything that I foresaw came into existence. So it's no reason really to go back and talk about things I've talked about in the past now that it's realized, they've materialized. Me though, I'm doing well. I am doing somewhat well. I'm a rant. Somewhat well. And so I have continued to, do my studies and my research, and I'm not coming up with much of anything new as far as messages. Today, I talked to an associate, and they were asking me, what do you see on the plate for me? What's going on? And I told them, I said, it's not much I can tell you. Everything that I keep picking up on is just surrounding how we feel. And it's showing that a lot of people don't feel that they have emotional support, adequate emotional support. They don't feel, or they feel vulnerable as far as their sense of physical, worldly security and stability. So it's like the same thing over and over and over again. Everything that I'm researching and studying points to how there's still a need to assess the company that we keep. Everything still seems to point to, I want to say the fact, but I can't show evidence of it. So what I'm also seeing and have been seeing is that humanity has the right to exist upon this earth in this realm the way they want to. And the majority rules. And so that is to say that humanity could have sinned, which is awaken, become very conscious and aware about the whole structure of our reality, and fall in line with the rules and the regulations that have been given by God, that is evident through nature. And we can ascend. Or we can reject the laws and the regulations of the Creator that are what made obvious through nature, and do what we want to do, and we will descend. Period. And when I say I've been trying so hard to find new information, and I haven't been finding any new information since like March, since all of this began. I really haven't. It's the same thing over and over again. And so I was telling my associate that And I told her what I saw for her particular zodiac sign and element, and she was confirming that that was the case for her. Um, and she wants me to give her answers, and I can't give her answers nor anyone else any answers because we have to make the decision about how we want this reality to be and how we want our experiences to be when we're in this reality, not only for ourselves, but those that come after us. And based on all of the evidence that I see, we have, and I've seen it before. I made a video several years back called All That Glitters Ain't Gold. I do believe it's called All That Glitters Is Not Gold. And in that video, I was given a report. What do you call it? Given a, what do you call it? Given a, I forgot what you call it, but kind of stating where we were at that time throughout the last couple of years here on my channel. Every now and then I will give a account of where I think humanity is as far as if we're going to ascend or descend. Every time I've given the account, it showed that we're descending. And one time when I was doing some videos and doing some research, it showed that love had risen. And the video was called Love is Risen, or Risen Love, or something like that. But that was to say that it was available to humanity to tap into love. The consciousness of love existed. It was on and popping. We could again plug into it and allow it to spread affection, not affection. You call it infectiously, maybe infectiously. I don't even know if that's a word or not. But upon review, again, I believe that humanity has chosen collectively to descend. And I want to talk about the dissension. This is an Aquarius rant, so just ride the wave with me, if you will. The dissension. What is an interesting part about the dissension process that it seems that humanity is undergoing is that we did become conscious. We have become more aware of this realm and all of its various constructs, and we are becoming more aware of the rules and regulations set up by the creator. But even though we can see more clearly than we have in a long time about the realities associated with this realm, we have chosen not to do better. Not enough of us. So we descend. And so the spirit or the fabric of life, the spirit of life, not the fabric stays. The spirit of life will reflect who we are on a collective level. And it will, let's see, would it trickle into the future as well? So, I'm trying to hold on to my YouTube channel. I can't see how many people might be on here. But again, I know it's time for work. Okay, be very safe, careful, seatbelts, love you. Close your door. But when there's nobody watching or available to interact with, it makes it difficult to, just keep talking and running your mouth, for no reason, basically. So I'm still dealing with that. The dissension. I'm jumping all over the place. Y'all know this is an Aquarius rant, so a matter of fact, a rambling rant, because I'm all over the place and going to continue to be all over the place. But the dissension. Let me talk about the dissension. There's a couple of things I want to talk about. I've noticed And I've been noticing for a while that that reality was changing. I've made multiple videos talking about how reality has been changing, the time periods that I saw it change. And I really talked about it more in depth when I did the live stream on during the broomstick challenge period. And I realized that there was mass hypnosis taking place. I realized there was mass psychological manipulation taking place. I realized that there were what they call it, psych analysis taking place on a mass level. They were the powers that be were really checking to see the where the people are as far as their morals, their intellectual level, and what the powers that be found out about the population is that we were under arrest. What is it? Arrested development. We were intellectually capped. All of these things have come up over the course of the last 3 years as I did my research and made the various videos I made on any given subject matter when instructed to do so by that which guides me. And so this is how the powers that be look at us. This is, and not to say that we naturally are that way. You got to remember, we have been socially engineered to express ourselves from our lower energies. And again, what was I saying? They have found, the powers that be have found upon evaluation, that the majority of the population, world's population, I'm quite sure, is intellectually capped. They are moved, or not moved, but motivated by their emotions. They are mentally, what does it say? What's the term? Because it came up mentally, mental arrested development. It was something like that during that period. That's what I came up with. They found out that we are not loyal to the blood. We're not loyal to the blood. And I mean that because I mean that in relationship to one of the most recent live streams I did called the Milgram experiment, that showed that a person will impose pain and suffering upon another because of their authority figure or boss told them to do so. And so they found all of this out, that their psychological manipulation of the people or of the masses worked. And because we are where they want us to be, they can have the outcome or the control that they ultimately want, to have the outcome that they want. It's hard to believe that there are people or beings that exist in this physical world that do not have empathy or even sympathy, or are not at all humane. It's hard to believe that. It's hard to believe that there are people or beings in this world, that exist in this world, that are after complete world domination. It really sounds very conspiratorial. I know that. But based on my research, that's what's going on. Here goes some issues, technical issues, as usual. So, once again, this is an Aquarius rant. So I asked you to ride the wave with me. I'm just sharing my experiences and my concerns, and some of the revelations I have come in possession of at this time. So we are descending. there are a few good people in this world, but not many. We are far and few, unfortunately. So now we're entering or have entered into a time period in which the powers that be are moving to fulfill their agenda. And that agenda is for complete control and world domination. Hard pill to swallow. I understand. I'm jumping. I have been looking for different programs to watch, and I've been doing a lot of binge watching. And I should have wrote the names down of some of the programs that I watch, but I did not. I'm either on Netflix or Amazon Prime. Oh Lord. Yes. Yes. No, I'm not ready to. No, I'm live. Every time. No. Son, I'm live. I said no 25 billion times. Turn all them lights off. So I want to talk about some of the programs that I've been watching. One program I bumped into, I think I was on Netflix yesterday, and I don't even know the name of this. I think it was a series. No, it was a movie. And I said, I'm not going to forget the name of it. It was a movie. And so I clicked on it, and it was in another language, so I had to read the subtitles. But it started off with, it was about people with deformities. And it was, I think it was fictional, but it was about people with deformities and how they cope in this world. One of the characters was a female. She looked like she was in her mid to late 20s, or mid to late 20s. And her deformity was her lower half of her face and her mouth. Her mouth looked like how can I say this nicely? It looked like a rectum hole. Is that an anus? That's what it looked like. And her chin and her jawline was heavy and had the dent in it to make it look like a derriere. And so I'm looking at this, and it looked like little hair around all the way around, like it was a mustache. And so I'm looking at this character like, what the heck is going on? Because I'm kind of confused. And I was like, her mouth looks like a derriere hole. I'm like, what the hell? Ooh, excuse me, I didn't make it. And so the next character was a young lady, little girl. She was 11 years old. Oh man, I wish I really knew that. I tried to look it up, but I couldn't find it because I fell asleep watching it. I was like, I'm gonna get back up and I'm gonna finish watching it and get the name. But when I went back on, I couldn't find it. Usually on Netflix, maybe I was on Amazon Prime. I think it was on Netflix. So it will say because you watch this, we suggest you watch this. But that wasn't the case. So the next character was an 11-year-old girl, and her deformity is that she was blind. It was called skins. That's what it was called. Skins. That's what it was called. Skins. And I remember it because the young girl, 11-year-old girl, was blind. And she wasn't just blind. She literally had extra skin over her eye socket. So, she couldn't see. But it was the point that she was 11 years old and she was in a brothel of some type. And the brothel offered different type of people, including amputees and the blind. And so the madam of this brothel was setting her up, scheduling her appointment with a client who was a pedophile. And so they specialized in people's desires. And this particular character, the madam, was talking to the client saying, you know, it is better that you fulfill your desires because they're natural. They're natural. Humans are animals. We're beasts. We're, you know, basically horrible beings. And so it's better to be in this controlled environment, is what the madam is saying to the customer, which is a pedophile. So anyway, she scheduled a setup for them to interact. But I was looking at it, I was like, hot dang it. I said, this world, this ram has gone to hell in a handbasket. And that handbasket is on fire. On fire. Every single person, with the exception of a few, the majority of the people of this world at this time, and will also be in the future, are demonic, are evil. I was like, they have this program on here that opens up dealing with pedophilia. And it's okay. Something's wrong with that. And I've heard that there's a program, a fairly new program called Cuties. And people are saying it's sexualizing children, young women, minors. It's okay though. You know, I'm talking about, we're not going, we are descending, we are just crossing the threshold over into hell. We are. I was like, okay. We have selected to break every natural law, universal law, divine law, however you like to label it. We have openly done so. And I say this, and I'm not trying to insult anybody, but this is the reality that exists relative to this world, is that heterosexual relationships are the norm. They are ordained by our Creator. Don't shoot the messenger. That's the law. How do we know it's the law? Because it takes a man and a woman to get together to procreate and create another one of our kind. That's the law. It don't go no other way. That's all the proof and evidence that you need. And when we start talking about people that are homosexual, or I guess homosexual, I don't know, or whatever other kinds of sexuality there are, these are distortions, and we call it distortions or defiances or disobedience to the natural laws. But we have, over time, we've been socially engineered to say that's the norm. Now, understand me, that's a very delicate or a very sensitive discussion when you start talking about sexuality. Because I personally believe that a person can be born having sexual urges and desires for the same sex. And I know a lot of people will get mad at me when I say, hey, I believe that there are spiritual reasons for that. How to say this a little different? This is an Aquarius rant. It almost seems like, what do you call it? Disability term I'll use. To have, and I know I'm about to get in trouble, but to be outside of the natural laws relative to sexuality is what I'm talking about. And if one has an affection for the same sex, it is, just using the word because I don't have a better word, like a disability. So it does exist. It does exist. Okay, but outside of that, because that's okay, you can't help how you are literally born. You can't help that. So what I'm saying is, when I start talking about the spiritual aspects of it, there are entities that F with us, mess with us, make it hard to be here and exist in this realm, is what I'm saying. And I'm going to leave that alone, maybe to another time. I'll go into depth on that. But then there are a lot of people that have engaged in um, alternative sexual practices and have alternative sexual preferences due to different reasons. One reason I don't hear people talk about much, I've heard some people talk about it in the more serious genres, I guess I can say, is that there was a period I know during the course of my life where once drugs hit, once this inner city, well, it wasn't just the inner cities, but once like crack hit, because crack was the primary one I know of during my time period hit, there were a lot of people that those drugs transport people or allow people to interact with other realms and other spirits and entities. And those other spirits or entities are over certain sets of consciousness, including alternative sexual preferences. Those alternative sexual preferences are a part of another dimension. So I'm ending up diving over into the spiritual part of it relative to sexuality. And so what am I saying? I'm saying in this realm right here, where we find ourselves, however we got here, the proof is in the pudding, as I was saying, when it comes to sexuality. In this realm, that consciousness does not belong here, and it is not aligned with the laws and rules to this realm. It does exist, but it is a part or from another dimension and therefore a state of consciousness where it's okay there, but playing by the rules here. What I'm trying to explain is why our reality is changing. And in order to explain why our reality is changing, I'll be discussing some really sensitive or delicate topics. This is what it is. And we have another way we've been socially engineered is to get butt hurt when we hear people not agree with our deviancy. And no matter how a person like myself tries to share, there's always someone that gets butt hurt, insulted. When I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, hurtful, or dismissive, or just say a person is a bad person. It's just that I believe that we have been misinformed. We have been inappropriately influenced, improperly. I use that term, improperly influenced in this realm. We don't know no better. We really don't know any better. We were socially engineered to forget. We were socially engineered to line up with the powers that have been, that are, and will be, in order for them to fulfill their agenda. And that was a part of it, misleading the people that exist or the beings that exist in this realm to go against the laws of this realm, bottom line, so that the powers can be, the powers that have been, are, and will be, can do what? Take over this realm, period. Take over the realm. Again, I understand it's hard to believe that there are beings that exist in this realm that are not humane, and their ultimate agenda is for world domination. But if you understand the complexity, the sophistication, the abundance that exists in this realm, and really understand the, what do you call it? I'll say the catalog, the catalog of the resources that exist in this realm, and what they're capable of doing, as far as the any advancements in technology, things we ain't figured out, and probably won't figure it out in another 100,000 years. You know what I'm saying? We have a limited comprehension of what is really taking place here. We really don't know what's at stake here. So we don't know what's at stake here. If we people could fully comprehend just how priceless our soul is, then maybe we could comprehend the extreme to which these entities, I'll say powers that have been, are, and will go to in order to seize control of these advanced resources or elaborate resources, these extraordinary resources, including your soul. The body, fragile, but that soul is energy, and they want it. They don't just want the energy of our soul, they want every precious resource on this earth, in this earth, around this earth. If you can really comprehend, again, the catalog of resources, everything from the air to every particle, everything, just everything, the pulse of the earth, just everything. Every solar flare is priceless. It is made of some element, some that we have discovered and tampered with, and others that we don't even know how to handle. We don't even know how to touch them yet. Therefore, what I'm saying is we don't know how to use them. We don't know where it can take us ultimately. So imagine possibly, maybe, some of these people that have been in power in the past, present, and future are people that know how to manipulate some of these resources that we ain't even comprehending yet. So what I'm saying, what they are totally after, we're not perceiving. And they have certain programs, agendas to make sure that humanity at any given time in the history of humanity is not aware. We're too preoccupied with the negativity that has been introduced to this realm, I guess I could say. Again, this is an Aquarius rant, just ride the wave with me. We are descending. So I talked about that one movie I found on Netflix called Skins. Maybe if you got Netflix, you can find it and look at it. It was just really wild and strange. Then I watched something called, I think it was called Barriers, Barrier. I think that was also on Netflix. And it was kind of breathtaking to me because I've tried very hard not to talk about the future that I see for humanity. Very hard. Because I don't want to be the person that people say, you negative, you talk yourself into existence. But what I have seen for the future of humanity is somewhat depicted in this series called Barrier on Netflix. After I viewed some of the episodes of Barriers, I was like, wow, we know. And I've said it before on YouTube, we know where we're headed. We know. And another thing that happened to me after watching some of those episodes of Barrier on Netflix is I thought about the movie, what's the name of that movie? I think it's Matt Damon called, what was that name of that movie? Elysium or something like that. Elysium or something. Where the poor or the underdog was left here on the earth, and the earth was just like a junkyard, all the resources exhausted, just about all of the resources were exhausted, and the wealthy and made them a planetarium for them to live on. Beautiful, luxurious, you know. And I was like, we know where we are headed. We know where we're headed. And we can't stop it. We're not stopping it because when I say we, I'm talking about all the people, individual people that create humanity at this time or any given time. We're not stopping it because we can't believe these things that I'm talking about. It's strange. It's weird. We are coming from out of periods in which we were very religious and we let religion lead us. We're coming out of periods in which we worked 12 to 14 hours. We're coming out of periods that we were not spiritual. We weren't in tune with ourselves. We weren't in tune with nature. We didn't hear from divinity. So all of this is surreal to us. So how can you fight back or make a change that can be beneficial to you and those that come after you? You know, we've been socially engineered and it's been going on for generations. We're not talking about something that happened overnight. It's just a little more advanced now. When I've been doing my studies, I really started looking back at how far back the social engineering has been taking place. It was taking place when people when people were being guided from out of their raising their own farms to starting to come make more, what do you call it, industrialized kind of setups to produce the life-sustaining resources that any population needed at any given time. And so that has been hundreds and hundreds of years. I ain't just talking about no 400 years. I'm talking about like as early as the 1800s, 1700s. We have been being socially engineered. It's just gotten more advanced. That's hard to comprehend. And what I realized from my life experience, I can't see if y'all are writing or not. I can't see it right now. But I will check in a minute, y'all. I realized just from my life experiences, there are not a lot of smart people. Well, people are smart in different ways. This people like where I'm from Detroit, so I'm part of the inner city, the hood. That there are street smart people. You learn how to survive this, the environment you in. You've heard a statement, people being a product of their environment. You can be street smart. And then you could be smart in a particular area, like you may have a gift like for cooking and stuff, but to be able to comprehend, I'm talking about these complex concepts, some of them abstract, meaning sometimes they are a vision before they manifest in reality. People don't have the intellectual capacity. Remember, we have been capped as far as our intellectual, arrested development or something like that, mental arrested development, intentionally. So people like myself and people that's more advanced than myself, or people that just have a natural propensity, which is not a large percentage of the world population, go off and get higher education. Higher education. And getting higher education is beneficial. They didn't mean for it to be beneficial to each of us because we would pose a problem. It was supposed to help us go into supporting one or another of their constructs to help them harvest the natural resources and to fulfill their agenda for world domination. That's what it was about because they couldn't do it by themselves. And they've been very successful. But there are people that have, acquired a higher level of intellect through a lot of life experience and world travels and in institutions, and once you get that awareness, it opens up a whole nother level of consciousness, I'll say. Consciousness. Just an average person that makes it through high school, and I'm not talking about all, but I'm just talking about on average, cannot access the same level of consciousness nor gain this, have the same level of awareness, and therefore to get the consciousness as a person that again expands themselves through higher education and world travels, and just being out here, just going everywhere, doing everything, meeting everybody, being in everything, being nosy, and really getting to understand. So what I'm saying is that, what am I talking about? Why the world's population is not accepting what's really taking place. Refuse to. Refuse to accept that what? There are some inhumane beings that exist in this world that are their primary agenda is world domination. And they want to dominate every resource on this earth or in this reality realm, including your body and your soul and every other natural resource you can see or can't see. That's the truth. And it's evident if you look at it in what has taken place thus far. Really look at it if you just stop. And then it's what do you say? I lost my line of thought. I want to go back to some of the things I've been picking up on. I mean, I'm in a weird place. I've been saying it for a while. It's like I'm in a twilight zone or something, or what's the name of that program with I'm just in some type of strange time warp, and I'm talking about that too. So I watched the Netflix, the movie Skins, the series Barrier. I've also been watching Lovecraft. I really have enjoyed it. And I'm kind of mixing things up. This is an Aquarius rambling rant, so just ride the wave with me, if you will. I want to talk about a particular episode that was featured on Lovecraft, and it's episode number 7, titled I Am. And the reason why I'm bringing that particular episode up is because, what is it? Dimensions. That's where I'm going to go for a minute. Dimensions. I'm tripping. I know I am. I know. But I know I'm so aware that I am shifting realities. I don't even know the terminology to use. When I say shifting realities, I point you to Lovecraft, season 1 of Lovecraft, episode 7, entitled I Am, in which one of the characters is shifting from one earth to the next. I am doing the same. And I was like, it just gets under my skin when what I'm experiencing is, I can see it in movies and stuff. It bothers me. So the movies and different, what do you call them, series that I've been watching, I immediately, when I see the concepts that I'm dealing with in reality, I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, God dang it, I didn't do it. Hold on, wait a minute, God dang it. I'll stop it, and I got to go look and see when was it created. And most of everything that I've been looking at was created in 2020. So they probably started making, I guess, in 2019. Probably wrote in 2018, made in, filmed in 2019, I guess, I don't know, and filmed 2020. Or, maybe close to its time of being published or put out. So my point is is not their creations, these creative expressions, art is a reflection of life. Art is a reflection of life. And so what I'm saying is, it's not just me having these experiences. It is others that are having these experiences, these others that know the truth. But yet, we don't believe it. Most people don't believe it. I don't know how to say it. Dimensions. But I've been jumping. I mean, Earths. Well, different Earths. Again, I don't know the appropriate terminology. Realities. Earth is still Earth, the way I have known it to be. And I've been jumping different realities in different realities. And so I kept ignoring it because I don't want to be different. I don't want to be different. Who wants to be different? And it's not beneficial. It ain't cool. I lost a lot of friends because I'm just that different. I'm just that different. This is TMI. For older folk that might not know what TMI is, there's too much information I'm about to give on my part in order to share. It was in like 1995. 1995. I was about 25 years old. And I had some neighbors, and I hadn't thought about these neighbors in years. They weren't my neighbors for long. It almost seems like when in retrospect, I'm thinking back to that time period, like, what happened to them people? I really have no idea. I don't remember their name. When I say I don't know, I never seen them move. I didn't move. What happened to these people? This is truly TMI, y'all. I'm making myself very transparent. So anyway, it was a young woman and a black couple. It was a young woman. She might have been about, I'll say 22. And she had her man, and he looked like he was a little older. He probably was 30. And mind you, I'm only 25, so I'm not truly aware. I'm not truly active in life. I'm just living life. Anyway, she invited, and they had moved into like the prettiest house on the block. And that particular house hadn't been occupied in a long time. Whoever owned it would not rent that house out. But all of a sudden, maybe they were squatters. I don't know. So anyway, it's something about me that women, especially young women, always have wanted to get close to me. And so back then, I'm young. I don't know that's going to be a part of my story. Young women and women in general always want to get close to me. I don't know that. Again, I'm like about 25, and I got about 3 kids at the time. So this young woman was no different. She befriends me. One day she invited me over to her house. I'm telling you this for a reason. I'll explain along the way. This is an Aquarius rant. I can talk all night. So I go over her house, and this young woman, again, I don't know her name. I don't even know how old she was. I'm guessing about 22. I know I was older than her. She had multiple children, little children, probably around the same age as mine. I don't remember my kids playing with her kids at all. And so I go in her house, and they didn't have any furniture. I mean, this was a bad house. As soon as you walk in, it's split left to right. I remember to the left was the living room with the fireplace, or it could be dining room, kitchen straight ahead, and the staircase. It was a bad house, beautiful house. So I wanted to see the inside of this house. So I go in this house, she done befriended me, and I'm looking around. They don't have any furniture. Again, I'm young. I'm not very aware. And she invites me upstairs. So I go up the stairs with her into her bedroom, which she didn't have anything. Based on just in retrospect and what I remember perceiving is that she probably was uneducated, and she had like 3 or 4 children, small. They weren't clean, like dusty children. And no disrespect to her children. Whoever they are, love them then, love them now. But this is what I saw. And she had a mattress or whatever on the floor, and everything was dirty. And she was on the floor. I don't even remember what she was doing on the floor. I don't know, was she changing a baby or doing something like that? And I just remember her looking up at me, and she was so sad. She was so sad. And I was like, wow. Again, it's amazing that I don't remember their names, her and her spouse's name. I don't remember when they moved in or when they moved out. And so I found and visited with her upstairs and talked to her. I go downstairs, and I'm about to go out the door, and her significant other calls me. And he's in the kitchen. So when they come down the stairs, that's like in the middle of the house, You just turn around on the stairwell in the kitchen straight ahead. So he's calling me. I'm about to go out the door, turn around, and so I walked into the kitchen. I was like, yes, and this man's back was to me, standing at the sink. I guess to wash the dishes, whatever. And he just turned around and he had his pants, but it was still in his undies. So I was like, I'm young, y'all. So I'm looking like, I'm just standing there like, I'm in the door of the kitchen like, who does this? I didn't know. Let me tell you how naive I was. I didn't know people did things like that. Now, his woman, I'm upstairs with his woman and they kids or whatever. I come down, he called me, took it. I wasn't expecting him to turn around and basically, I guess he was giving me giving me an offering. And so I'm standing there like, what is this? Am I being punked? I remember saying to myself, and this is long before that statement came out, am I being punked? Who does this? Long before these statements. That was my response in my mind. And I was like, And I just turned around and walked out. Don't ever remember seeing them again or talking to them again. Again, don't remember their name, the kid's name, or nothing. Jumping dimensions. So I talk about jumping dimensions or being in different realities because, again, I knew them and then I didn't. I just realized that I met that couple 11 years ago. 11 years ago, I met that couple, that same couple, but the dynamics had changed a little bit. In reality, they weren't the exact same people. They were the same characters. Let me tell you, TMI, jumping realities. And once I made the connection between that couple I just talked about and this other couple that I met, I was like, that was wild to me. I made that connection. Once I made that connection, when I say all the different scenarios that play out in these different realities began to become clear to me, obvious to me, I was like, hot dang, I've been jumping realities for a long time. Now, throughout the course of my life, I was like, it don't seem like I'm in the same realities. But remember, I haven't been into what you see me here on YouTube doing my whole life. I literally lived this stuff out that I talk about. But to be conscious, talking about consciousness, tarot, using those terms and things, that's not what I was into. So I was living it and I was saying, dang, something is weird. And again, I'm the weirdo. Everybody else I've ever known was the hot boys, the hot girls, the pimp, the hoes, the pushers, the dealers. You know what I'm saying? Selling dope, running. Those are the kind of people that I knew. And so again, I'm the real weirdo. I'm the real stranger talking about the things I talk about and performing the rituals that I did. That was just a part of my nature, my makeup. So, anyway, what was I saying? So let me talk about TMI. This couple manifested again in my life years later. That was in 94. So by 2006, a representation of this couple manifested in my life. And I've talked about this scenario, but from a different perspective. I ended up meeting a guy that became my significant other for 8 years. TMI. This guy that I met was just like that man I'm telling you about from the past. He was the same person. So what am I saying? I'm saying when I met that man name I can't remember in 94, he was a certain way. I'm sure having certain life experiences, whatever they were. If there was no break in me viewing his existence, fast forward him from 1994 to 2016, which is about 12-year period. The guy that ended up becoming my mate was that same person. And so by the time they became my mate, I got to see where that same man from 94 would be 12 years later or 12 years older in the man I ended up being in a relationship with. TMI. The man I was in a relationship with cheated on me. And the young woman he cheated on me with was that young girl that was about 22 that invited me in. If there was no break and I could have witnessed that 22-year-old girl's life all the way up until I met the woman that my significant other time cheated on me with, they were the same person. They were the same spirit. So what am I saying? I got to see the outcome or the future of that couple, where they were, I don't know how to say it, where they were in spirit, in a spirit. I don't know. I got to see the outcome of their life. I'll say it like that. Where because they had certain behaviors and performed certain ways and had certain character traits and attributes, there was a destiny set before them. It was already predetermined just because they did what they did. And so when I end up meeting those energies again, I was seeing where those attributes took them. Now, mind you, in 2006, when I met the man that became my significant other, I don't even know how to share this because it was deep. It was so deep. I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it. Anyway, how can I say this? I'm going to cut it short because I'm about to get confused. I saw the predetermined outcome of particular character traits. I seen the outcome. Let me try to go back a little bit and explain. Talking about the man, I can't remember his name, the one that offered me the package and I was being punked and I walked out on. Those kind of behaviors that he was demonstrating at that time. Everything from being in a relationship with a younger woman, and it wasn't just that she was younger. I could tell that because of the children not being cared for, to the highest quality, that he was like he was a user. Also, the way she looked at, remember I said there's something that's always been in my life that women, especially younger women, want to get up under me. And I could see that when I went up in her room and she was sitting on the floor, I think changing a baby or doing whatever, I'm standing over her looking and, running my mouth. But she looked up at me. I told you she looked up at me and her eyes was sad and they was lost. And I mean, just destitute. And I just remember that look. And that look was because of who she was in a relationship with. I knew based on what the things that he had done and her look and her her environment, the whole scenario that she was in, that she was abused, And so what I end up learning, I'm jumping everywhere. This is an Aquarius rambling rant, y'all. What I learned over the course of my life with these women, all women, especially young women coming up under me, I always have had, and I didn't know this. Again, I just been living. I have a very strong character, real strong character. And when I was younger, I didn't know it. I knew it, but I didn't know it. I didn't know it mattered. I didn't know it mattered. So imagine me, I'm her neighbor, he and her neighbor, he and her neighbor, she and he, I'm their neighbor, was their neighbor. And I don't even remember her coming into my home. Maybe she did. I don't know. But I've always kept a very clean home. I'm not a person that always had a lot, but I was raised to take care of what you had. I always kept an abundance of food, very organized, clean, dusted. I've always been into people listening now, and I'm sure people that have been listening to uh, we'll say elevator music. I've always had more elevator music playing in my house, vibrations, candles, those kind of things. My environment had always been quiet. Long as my kids were younger, everything, now they out of control. So they, that's a whole nother thing. That's the end of this long Aquarius rant. So my house was always quiet and still and clean, and whatever a person need was there. I'm not a person that runs out of tissue or food. It ain't going to go on. And if you hungry, if I got it, I can help you out. That kind of. So that's the kind of environment I had. So why am I bringing that up? Because I'm talking about jumping dimensions, y'all. Hey, it's so deep. I don't even know how to share because there's so many things that's been happening. This is just one scenario. And so why does this young girl want to befriend me? Why have any young women or women wanted to befriend me? Well, the younger women I realize want to befriend me and be up under me is because of the energy that I have. And they're curious about how can a person be, quote unquote, a strong Black woman? Even at the age of 20, 22, how can you be a strong Black woman or a strong person? But and stand up for yourself. Stand up against the person that you love, when they're doing wrong to you. You know what I'm saying? How can you, because it was a time that I told, I'm all over the place. I remember when I had my first heartbreak, and I forgot how my mom told me, but she said, it's better to let it go now. At least you're on your way to healing. But if you stay in it, you don't know when you're going to heal. You don't never know when you're going to keep opening this wound up. And so, all of the things that I've learned, especially from my mom, it takes time to, get that stuff in, break it down, mentally process it and absorb it. So the whole time I'm being fortified and made stronger throughout my life. And so that is reflected and shown in my life. And what I'm saying is young women that have had challenges, financial challenges, the stress of taking care of kids, rotten man, they see a strength in me because I ain't gonna say I didn't have all those things happen, but guess what? Every moment, every time it happened, I was working to correct it. And so I'm trying to explain something. So that young woman, when she was looking up at me, she wanted me to see her pain. She wanted me to be able to tell her, hey, this is how you get out of that. This is how I'm living next door, two doors down from you. This is how I'm living. You know what I'm saying? This is how you keep living when somebody hurting you. And this is how you get strong and let them go, right? I'm trying to make it make sense. So I'm trying to move on because I can get stuck there because it says so much and it's continuing to reoccur in my life over and over and over again. So fast forward, I meet the same couple. It's not the exact same people. It's the same spirits that exist or inhabiting different flesh bodies. And so what I end up seeing is where those type of character traits, attributes, and behaviors that existed in them, where it takes them, the predestined end. And they ain't dead, but you know what I'm saying, it's a final outcome. And so I saw a young woman, this is the one that my significant other cheated on, where he was abusive to her. And I remember the first time I met her, before I knew they were messing around, she had got that same look, looking at me, but it wasn't as weak and afraid as the 22-year-old girl. It was a little stronger. But I remember looking at her like, dang, she looking at me like that for. But I was like, whatever, being cordial to her. Of course, found out later it's something he was messing with, his little side piece. So I was like, okay. But one day he abused her. This is the significant other I was with. He abused her. And I stopped her. I was like, look, and then this was crazy. The young woman that my significant other was cheating on, she still kind of loomed around me. And I by that time, which was 2006, I'm aware that young women, women, but primarily young women, want to be up under me. So she would loom around. Like I tell her, don't get too close. Don't get too close. But I understood. I never told her just completely go away because I already knew. So she would loom around. And so he was domestically violent to her. And so she looked at me one day. He had blacked her eye. And I looked at her. I said, hey, come here. Let me talk to you. Let me talk to you. And so when she came over, I told her, I said, you would be foolish. You are foolish if you are taking a whipping in order to compete with me. I said, it's no way in hell or high water or whatever I told her. And then I left it like that and walked away. And I bring that up because, again, I'm watching this particular spirit dwelling in a female body, I'll say, grow from like the age of 22 to about the age of 30. That spirit had gotten stronger, but it wasn't free. It wasn't free. And so I watched this spirit grow until it has gotten liberated. And it's still on this journey like we all are, but it's getting stronger. That representation of that other spirit in male form has continued on this journey. And I've watched the outcome associated with those kind of behaviors and character traits. And it was very detrimental. That person took a loss. I'm jumping somewhere else right now, y'all. I'm jumping somewhere else right now. I'm trying to go somewhere else. I'm kind of stuck here again. So, it's like, hi, y'all. I said I was going to stop. I canceled Netflix for promoting pedophilia. Yeah, little cuties. People have to learn, hi, goddess of many waters. People have to learn how to deal with others speaking the truth, even if it hurts. Very true. I see what you're saying. Hi, Miss Nancy. How are you? I'm fine, warrior of light. How you doing today? The truth is truth. Truth is truth. And we've been, again, cultivated to not accept the truth, period. A matter of fact, you speak truth, you start a war, flat out. Hi, Juanita Williams. How are you? Good evening, everyone, guys. Some opportunities, different people. Same opportunities, different people, right? And so the reason why I was bringing it up is because I realized I was shifting. I lost the track of thought. I was shifting realities. Hi, 1, 2, how are you? Then turned around. I talked so long, I forget because I'll be trying to get these concepts out. Is it a spider? Am I seeing a spider in a reflection? I see a spider. I see it moving. Where? Where? Oh God, I seen it. I seen it up there. I see it. There you go. That's a centipede or something. I see it. Oh, it's huge. It is huge. Hopefully it don't get me. So, jumping realities. So, it's been quite a few things. I got so stuck on that trying to make it make sense. And I don't think I was successful, but it's been so many experiences that I've been having and I've had throughout my life that showed me that I was jumping from one reality to another. And when I was younger, I used to be tripping and I used to say, yeah, I'm tripping. This is not the same world. These not the exact same people. They may look like the same people, but they're not the exact same people. I have everything from where when I say we, I'm talking about the different people I've engaged with throughout my life, have a moment of recollection. We don't recall the same events at all. Though that's just like a basic reoccurring clue that I have been jumping different realities. And I don't think it's just me. I think it has to do with this realm. I'm not going to pretend like I know exactly what this place is and exactly everything that's going on. Everything I've shared on my channel has been my analysis of this realm. Everything. And I only want to deal in the facts. period, because I really want to know what's going on. So recently, it was last year, end of last year, it was like September. And I got on here and I talked about, it was an Aquarius rant, and I talked about how I woke up and my childhood friend was over me. My imaginary childhood friend was over me. I said, oh, y'all, she represents money and love. I said, I'll take the money. And that's exactly what I got. Okay. That time period, then I knew that I had jumped realities. But I was like, okay, I'm just going to watch. I'm going to be quiet. So, how did I say this? Because it's been so much, it's overlapping. The other day, I woke up and I was like, I'm not in the same reality. In the reality that I currently am, there are some attributes about that's associated with each reality that I have. There are different people that I interact with. Even though I know all of these people throughout all of the realities, there are certain ones I interact with depending on which reality I'm in. So the reality that I'm in now will lead me to interact and engage a unique set of people. And this is across all fields, all social circles. In this reality that I'm in right now, see, I can go to sleep and wake up tomorrow and be in another reality. And that's what's been going on. So the reality that I'm in today has certain attributes. And therefore, again, what I'm interacting with certain people more frequently than I do any others. In this reality, like back in September, it has me where I'm more in a financially better place. It come too easy. This reality that I'm in is also seasoned with drama, social drama. Okay. It was so obvious today when I woke up. I have been thinking it. Been thinking it my whole life. Becoming clearer and clearer and clearer. And as life go on, I just shun the thoughts. Even though I know I'm having the experiences. Shunning thoughts. Every time somebody, we don't have the same recollection. You know, I had the same recall of a past experience. Shunning. Every time, I told y'all, let me tell you the story. Remind you of the story I shared about, I'm jumping everywhere, Aquarius Rambler Rant, when I was going to the University of Michigan and I had that final paper of 15 pages. Remember, I told you I was 25 pages, and then after I got off, it wasn't no 25, it was 15 pages. And I told you how I finished it, sent it to the instructor, went to school. Instructor's like, professor's like, where's your paper at? What you mean? I done sent it to you. And I went back and forth home, back and forth between home and school, trying to get that paper to them, and they gave me an extended amount of time. That was a period in which I was jumping realities within moments, within seconds, like that. It was like the turnover from one reality to the other was within short periods of time. The one I was just sharing and wasted all that time on was over a 12-year period, jumping. So today, what's been kind of happening back and forth is a little more condensed, these jumps to different realities. Today, I realized, I was like, hot damn. When I set up, I was like, I'm in another reality. Because in a moment, just going to sleep and waking up, it changed. The other day, it changed. I forgot what happened. And I'd be so lazy. I won't even get up and get a pen. I was like, it's not worth doing it. I ain't gonna have, enough to share, so it ain't worth doing it. Just keep your eyes open, Nancy. But it keeps happening. I think it's been happening over the last couple of weeks, 3 times that I done jumped back and forth through to different realities. And I'm bringing that up because, number one, like I said, it really gets under my skin when I watch programming and I see what the concepts I'm talking about being presented. And in this Lovecraft series, I was talking about season 1, episode 7, entitled I Am, one of the characters was jumping from one reality to the next, or world to the next. And so I'm thinking, I think Jordan Peele, who is this? Jordan Peele is a part of creating it or something, that series. But I was like, we know. And again, I don't think general people, most of us know. We have an inkling, I think is the word for it. But we don't really know. But there are people that do know, that are more aware, that even the people that's went out and got a higher education and world travels and more intellectually, stimulated. There are people that know that we are literally jumping realities. And why am I bringing that up? Why do I think it's important? It is because, number one, I'm talking about the complications that we are facing and understanding what we're actually dealing with, especially at a time like now, with all of this pandemic stuff going on and all of these crazy, insane threats around us, and this insecurity about finances and emotional support that I'm picking up in all the works that I do. We aren't getting any clarity. I've been talking to people about voting and stuff, just asking them, who you voting for and what's your views on stuff and different things like that. People are freaking confused. But there are people that exist in this realm, beings that want us to be. And what I'm saying? One of the things that is complicating our ability to see clearly and to make good decisions for ourselves, for humanity overall, is because one of the things that is current, we are jumping realities. Now, I can't prove this to you. You have to be really in tune with your life and the various scenarios that play out. And when, like, you can see the story play out, cut, change, and then come back and fit in. I'm going to give you another example of shifting realities and being able to change realities. I just shared a story in a couple of live streams ago about when I stayed next door to this older white woman. And I had been there for a while, and then one day I just go in the backyard and it's just grass growing up right on the fence. Like, where did that come from? Big, plush, like carpet grass. I'm just standing there. Little white woman come on over. She's so little and fragile, hand me the weed whacker and everything over the fence. I was like, and I'm just standing there. I told you I never had to cut no grass. Wasn't no grass growing. No grass grew. Goes to this quote, old saying, if there's nobody in the woods and a tree falls, does a tree falling make a sound or something like that? That is me in grass. And I talk about how currently I brought that spirit of growing grass to my community. Nobody over here had no lawnmowers, was cutting. Everybody's lawn was nice and pretty. And then all of a sudden it started on my fence one year. And the consciousness began to spread. These are the kind of things, I don't even know how to really articulate them or to make them make sense or to make them seem real, sound real, because it's real for me. And I think that it's real for all of us. It's just so, I think the term I can use is finite, till we are not perceiving these type of variations and changes in our reality, which leads us to be unsettled. And because we're so unsettled, because we are so unsure, and because we are it's like a sense of not being comfortable or secure, because you really don't know what's going on. It's hard to make a great decision for yourself and for humanity overall. And on top of it, we have what? These powers that have been, are, and will be manipulating us into being self-destructive. They are and have been and will continue to be if we don't stop them. We can't stop ourselves. Manipulating us to be disobedient to the rules of this realm, period. See, things we don't We're not, again, perceiving or comprehending because it's so finite. It's so elaborate. The whole scheme is so elaborate. It's hard. Um, Anywho, I'm all over the place. Uh, anyway, I've been like watching these various movies and series and everything, and I realized as I just search, everything is we got zombie movies with people eating people that all just depicts cannibalism. A matter of fact, a new on Netflix coming soon is something called like Carnivore or something like that, where it's talking about post-apocalypse happenings in a hotel, I guess, feeding the guests, I guess, people, And so when I'm looking at all of these movies and stuff, it's all demonic. All of it's demonic. Today I was riding in the car. I ain't even gonna go into that because I'm gonna get lost in that. I want to tell y'all about jumping timelines and being improperly influenced, but I can go on and on and on with a TMI now. So anyway, I'm driving today and music playing, and I'm driving, and I'm like, and I'm starting to listen to the lyrics. First it was just the sound, and I started listening to the lyrics, and I was like, ooh, that's that song I've been hearing about by Cardi B and Meg the Stallion. I said, that's that song. I said, and it dawned on me. So I looked at the radio. It dawned on me. I was like, that's that song. I looked at the radio to see if it was a CD because I was driving my daughter's car. If it was a CD or what do you call it, a Bluetooth or something on, it was FM radio. It was FM radio. And so I'm driving and I'm constantly looking back at it. I was like, this is FM radio. And it was suck this, bad this, do this, ain't got to do nothing how I get the bag this. I mean, it was just absolutely vulgar. It was belligerent and so much more. I'm looking like, wow. I was like, now this is just mainstream radio. It had to be, I don't know, early in the day, midday, no censorship at all. I mean, they call it like it made it, I'll say this, they would argue, the creators will argue that there's some censorship taking place by maybe elongating some sounds or something, or overlapping something belligerent or vulgar with the beat, but you can still hear it. And if you done heard the song all the way out through, you are able to recite those lyrics word for word, just hearing, the beat. So anyway, after that song go off, another one came on. I'm riding. You gotta remember I'm from the hood. So I come up doing a Luke Skywalker area. I'm in my prime. So I'm like, yeah, okay. Ready to turn up. And I was like, but I started tuning into the lyrics. And midday, right behind Cardi B and Meg the Stallion song, it was another song. It was equally as vulgar. It was belligerent. It was just disrespectful. It was low vibrational. And I was like, and this is Prime Radio. I guess it's called Prime Radio. Prime Radio. I said earlier in my life, everything was censored. It was, that kind of vulgarity didn't exist until, what they call it, Luke Skywalker. What was they called? Two Live Crew and Luke Skywalker and them. And, then it comes Snoop Dogg and all of them when they came. Then that's when the vulgarity really started. But prior to that, things were fairly clean. It was more love, for real live love music, like writing poems and singing poems or something like that. I don't know about music. And I was just like, I said, now, I looked in, while I'm driving, I look in the rearview mirror and I see the baby's car seat. I said, now, what I'm trying to say, the baby in the car, and I'm listening to the regular old FM radio, is growing up listening to this. I was like, what am I saying? There is no restrictions. There are no boundaries about what we're listening to. And we're talking about there's supposed to be a responsibility. But that responsibility to censor music has been thrown to the wind. And they're playing it every day, all day long. And I mean, you could be in I have been in a company, I've noticed this before. I've been in a company of seniors, what do they call it, seniors or my elders. And the most vulgar, nasty music come on, or I could be sitting in a room with your TV is playing, just regular old TV, and something really, really nasty or adult, what do you call it? Something with nudity and sex comes on, and I'm sitting with an elder. I done been watching something, even a comedy or something, and my kids come in the room, or we sitting there watching a movie, and it jump from something being funny to a sex scene, and it's like it's no boundaries at all. What am I talking about? We have allowed these kind of things to be normalized. Now, somebody like me will catch flack. Is that it? Flack? For saying that. Because it's okay now. I'm a person that sit up and watch movies. I'm like, okay. And I know it's been many times that when something come on, I be like this now. What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna rally everybody up and run them out the room because they done had a sex scene, and like I was watching, what's his name? John, and watch Joe Rogan. What's his name? Joe Rogan. The other little guy named Josh. I don't know their last names. Basically everybody that's in that movie. What's the last day? What's that movie? Because I like the movie. Oh God. That's not how the world ends. What's the name of it? Oh, I can't remember the name of that movie. This is how no, that's that last. I cannot remember. It got Joe Rogan in it. It got what's that man name? Oh my God, my memory's so bad. I'll think about it. Because one of the movies I really like, but it's insane, it's vulgar. And because we've been brainwashed. It's funny as all get out. Hey, the same people from Pineapple Express, them same men that played in Rappapalooza or something like that. I can't think of the man name. And so, but what I'm saying, everything they say, every single thing they say has some sexual connotation, homosexual connotation, every single time. So I've been looking at everything I've been watching, I've been paying attention. It has not been one program at all, not one, not a cartoon, not a nothing that ain't got some sexual connotation and homosexuality in it. Now, what I'm bringing that up for is because it has been normalized. Hello. I talked to you, Juanita. It has been normalized for homosexuality has been normalized. And so when I bring that up because I say homosexuality has been normalized and represented in movies and different series, all of them, every last one of them. Because the creators say they want to be all inclusive. They want to be all inclusive. It's been normalized. And I have to say, the reality is that is a trick of the devils, or the powers that be are and will be. Because they need the people that create humanity at any given time to be defiant against the creator and his rules. Point blank. Point blank. But the way they have socially engineered us and brainwashed us is I will, and it's okay, be attacked by YouTube, by people that participate in these practices. We've been brainwashed. I get it. We didn't know any better. And this has been a slow grind to get us where we are. That we don't understand right from wrong. We don't understand, many of us, how we even, because, sexuality is natural. At least we think it is. but that too can be manipulated. Let me give you an example of what I mean by that. As I mentioned, I came up in the generation, I hit my teens when the crack epidemic started. After that, before that crack epidemic, I knew a few heroin addicts when I was younger because some of my friends' fathers was heroin addicts, but that came from a generation before in the 1960s and the Vietnam War and stuff. I did a couple of videos about that. I did dope drugs or I don't even know what was the name of that other one. Dope drugs or game recognized game. Okay, talking about generational drugs. Anywho, in the 80s, here come the crack. And so what I'm saying prior to that, homosexuality, I cannot say it didn't exist because again, it's been a slow grind and cultivation to get us where we are, to have our particular mindsets and having our lusts and passions be out of control, where we won't control them anymore. Anywho, but what I'm saying, how parts of the population has been cultivated to indulge in homosexual activities and to have it even normalized is during the crack epidemic. Around that time, a lot of people were in prison, and they were in prison for long sentences. This goes into all politics and making laws and how they made laws, especially what they call up. Anyway, had black folks or minorities locked up for longer period of times or serving heavier sentences and things like that. I can't remember what that's called. I'm gonna let it go. Anywho, Vulcan. No, it's not Vulcan. It's called, I can't remember. So these people serving 20, 30 years, a lot of activities go on in the penitentiary. At least I've heard it. I haven't been there. A lot of activities go on in the penitentiary. Remember, sexuality is a natural instinct. The sexual desire is a natural instinct, and you will fulfill it. Most will fulfill it. It takes that Buddhist monk hitting that Zen level to sustain, to be able to control your fire. That's what burning in hell is about. That is a ascended person. Ascended. Do you get that? Is to be able to control your fire. When your loins go to burn, we call it getting horny. A person that can control getting horny is an ascended person. They got ascended abilities to control that fire. But when we're talking about dealing with people, talking about, it's a population, so it's a proportion, racial thing, to say a lot of people that have been incarcerated, not all, don't have a high level of education awareness. They are products of their environment. They are, they acted upon opportunity, different things like that. So they haven't been into controlling fire. So then they incarcerated for 20, 30 years. They act on it one way or another. Certain things we don't talk about. Well, they come out and they still have these urges and desires. And then to be incarcerated for 20 or 30 plus something years can break their mind. It was another experiment done, social experiment. I got to start getting these terms right. Social experiment done. Y'all probably heard about it, where there was a cast of people hired to perform this social, experiment. And some of the cast were given the roles of being correctional officers, and the others were inmates. And so the inmates were in the cell, the correction officer played the correction officer role, and the correction officers became very cruel to the inmates, and the inmates even played the role, really began to act like inmates. And the whole thing was they knew that they were all just, we could say, hired actors, but it didn't stop people from playing their roles to an extreme. I've lost my talk so much I forget. What do you say? Let me get over here and read some chat. Because I'm just talking. I'm probably be on here forever. I don't know. You say, you are making sense to me, Miss Nancy. I say, I hear you. I like the beats. Then come, like, I like the beats. Then come the words. Have me out here twerking and stuff. I'm like, come on now. I just changed the station, and that's what I end up doing, Juanita. I just changed the station. I said, all I can say is, Lord help me, because I like, this is the crazy part, and so I understand what people going through. I like it. I like the music. Y'all hear the beat? I'm like, what? Next thing you know, I'm going down the street, twerking and trugga-lugging and doing everything and breaking it down and rapping and cussing and doing it all. And I had to check myself. I'd be like, okay, now is that right or is it wrong? And I have to literally sit with myself and say, hi, James, I ain't seen you in a long time. I say, Nancy, is that right or wrong? Is it right or is it wrong? And I have to say to myself, the crap is wrong. It is wrong, and it is lowering my vibration. I'll say, okay, Nancy, why do I like it? You know, why is it? It's magic. When you look at it, it is a form of magic. Or I could tell y'all about some magic stuff that's right up under our nose and we don't even recognize it. But in order for me to do these things, I have to offer the TMI, and I just don't want to be that transparent. But it's hard to rectify that something could be so fun or so funny, like that's Joe Rogan. What's his name? His name Joe Rogan, something Rogan, and that Josh guy, and oh God, I can't remember that guy. I almost had his name, but they just so funny. I just want to know the name of that movie. It's where they all go to a house like in the Hollywood Hills, Kevin Hart in it, Brianna, and the world come to an end, and they all caught in this house that was built to withstand earthquakes and everything. Well, I can't remember and outside is demons, and at the end they ascend up to heaven. They just had to do a good deed, and they ascend up to heaven, and they all got white jogging suits on, and they dancing with the Backstreet Boys or whatever they call. I can't think of the name of it. Anyway, and in the movie, the Josh boy, his behavior, his character suggests that he may be bisexual, maybe, or gay, but they don't really just say it. But in the midst of the movie, he sleep, and a sexual demon comes upon him. A male sexual demon comes upon him and mounts him in the bed. This is kind of vulgarity I'm talking about. But it's funny. I be sitting up, cracking up, rolling. Oh my God, Pineapple Express, different things like that. I be rolling. But it's very negative because but that's the whole thing. It shifts my mind. I began to I'm gonna testify a little here. If I could think of something to testify about. Talking about, I'm gonna give you an example. And this is really TMI. Really, really TMI, y'all. An example. I've never been a person that's in a porn. I want to say that first and foremost. I have seen porn, like when I was in college and stuff, but I'm not into it at all. But I remember, oh man, it was a classic porn that I was introduced to. And so I'm watching it. Who is it? Oh, it's you, baby, but I'm live. I can't get up. Oh, I love you too. Granny can't get up right now. Ooh, thank you. Thank you. Bye. She delivered my mail. She delivered my mail. Thank you, sweets. And what was the name? Taboo. It was called Taboo or something. So watching it, again, this is the crazy part. I'm not into porn at all. So I'm watching it, and two women getting it on. Ooh, that's nice. Then two men get it on. Like, ooh, that's real nice. That's real intriguing. Fire started to burn. I'm not even into porn. I don't believe in uh, homosexuality. I don't have those urges. I'm not sexually attracted to women. I think women are beautiful when they're women, beautiful when they present themselves well. You fine, you fly, girl, you go. That's as far as it is. So why does my fire start to burn when I see those things, those images through my portals, my eyes? Why? Or seeing two men together, like, ooh, yeah, my fire starts to burn. Like, what? I don't believe in homosexuality like that. I have been raised and I feel just in my natural state without being improperly influenced. Oh, man. Oh, that's a whole other thing. You know what I'm saying? So I know what really gets my fire going. And my mind had never gone there before. But when I seen it, I was like, that's not me. But in that moment, a fire, what do you call it? A flame began to flicker. Desire began to build something that was not me. And after that, I was quickly able to extinguish that fire. It came with, again, a miseducation or improper influence it came with. That's to say, had I kept indulging porn and same-sex porn, and maybe I would have developed a curiosity, and from the curiosity, maybe I would have engaged. And once engaging, I may have introduced a new spirit into my temple, and therefore I will burn for that kind of stuff. But extinguishing that right there, meaning now I didn't watch porn anymore. I've never been into it again. I didn't feed it. So I was able to revert and return and become one with who I am, which is a heterosexual woman, a female that loves men. You know, I'm be good, PG. You know what I'm saying? So that's the kind of improper influence I'm saying has happened. I was talking about people that have been incarcerated for long periods of time and indulging in that natural activity, is a sexuality. But who do they have to indulge with? The same sex. I'm sure a person gets tired of satisfying themselves. So, okay, that's all they're around. They're all they're around. And so what I'm saying is the spread of this consciousness or the spread of this fire, you know, in that way. So then we have people come out after 20, 30 years and they on the down low, what they call it. They're being very secretive about it because it's not the norm. And it's not the norm in a lot of communities. And we know at least on a subconscious level that there are rules in this realm. If ain't nobody tell you nothing and you just look around, pay attention to the rules. You have never seen a man lay with a man and have a baby, or a woman with a woman and have a baby. There's the rule. I didn't make it. Don't get mad at me. I didn't set the rules. I am under the rules too. Either I abide by them and find favor, or I don't and get what it ends up manifesting, just like everybody else. And what I'm saying is, out of the world's population, there's a majority of the world's population that is going against the rules. Are we doing it because we're horrible, or have we been miseducated and improperly influenced or socially engineered to do so over maybe even thousands of years? I think that's the case. And it's all for what? The benefit of allowing the people that, or the beings that have been in power, that are in power, have been in power, are in power, and will be in power to reach their agenda. And that's to what? Dominate this world and all of its resources. Bottom line. You know, and so we have men and women, you know, the prison population of women is increasing, and that's a whole nother story. But we have men coming out still burning, still never doing a Buddhist Zen, sitting down, controlling the fire, not extinguishing, controlling the fire. Whew. See, that's woo. That's how the Kundalini go up. Control your fire. Mm-mm-mm. Whew. You want to experience something? Control your fire. Woo, I got to get past that now, y'all. I've been controlling the fire for a long time. Look, willingly. You want to go somewhere? Go there. So, not controlling the fire and them secret moments of indulging, just like that movie I was just saying, talking about, what was it, the Skins on Netflix. That secret moments of indulging and satisfying, feeding that fire, spread that consciousness that has led. Could you imagine a young man being touched by an uncle or a neighbor or brother or cousin that's been, locked up for years, being touched for the very first time, sexually stimulated, and introduced and having their fire combust by same sex. You know what I'm saying? These are spirits that's what they're talking about when they talking about we can't be infiltrated by spirits. And it continues to spread. And it has. So we're not talking about something that just started. We're talking about stuff that's been going on for years. They say the Greeks were all into that. You know what I'm saying? So we're going back, how many? 1,000 years at least. Again, we think short term. We think now. We don't know exactly what we're dealing with here. We're talking about beings that may literally exist for hundreds or thousands of years, or even be immortal. Is that the word? Immortal. We don't know. We have no way of knowing, because we talk about a plan. When you look at it, we done covered it, a lot of it on my channel. Not all, but a lot. Enough to see that there has been a plan that has been implemented and been carried through for thousands of years, at least 3,000 years. Go back to the video I made called Pyramids. Not many people watched it, but pyramids show you. Even when I did the video on pyramids, the live stream on pyramids, I talked about the decks of cards near the end of that video. I talked about the pyramid itself and then the deck of cards and who those characters are on playing cards. And it goes back to the creation of this social structure needed to help them reach their agenda. Their ultimate goal is to do what? Dominate this realm for all its resources, including your body and your soul. So I've been all over the place, y'all. It's other stuff I still want to talk about. I want to talk about, this is an Aquarius rambling rant, so I'm all over the place. So I talked about how I woke up in alternate realities. I didn't finish because I'm in an alternate reality now that it has certain attributes that are present in this particular reality that is absent in another reality that I've experienced and been in. And I realize it because it doesn't even exist. That attribute doesn't even exist in the other reality. So what I wanted to do, this is my plan. If I got to figure out how to sit in this reality long enough without shifting, it can happen when I'm asleep or up. But I need to sit in this reality and pull all the funds that I can get in this reality, because it has that attribute of money, and maybe to take it to another reality where it ain't no drama. See, in this reality I'm in, yeah, it's a lot of money, but it's also a lot of drama. I'd have lived long enough. I don't want no drama. I realized it today, and it's not the first time over the course of my life. Again, I realized that I done jumped realities. I had been standing near other people, and they realized they didn't jump realities, but it's not the norm. It's not the norm. So everybody would dismiss it. These are people that in the street and all kind of stuff or work, they realize they jump reality, but they soon dismissed it because it's not normal to us. That's not what we're taught. So anyway, yesterday I was triggered, and I was triggered because of some bull crap that happened early on in my life. I've gone, well, TMI, being transparent, I done gone through bull crap in my life that it took a minute for me to get out of. Like I said, I had to learn. I was living and learning. you get strong and you change. And that's what I represent again to women and younger women, getting strong and changing. You know, even if you got to let something go that you love so much, let it go so that you can have a better life, a better existence. You can keep your sanity, those kind of things. So I've gone through those periods. And in one of those periods, there were certain things happenings that would occur. And it would take me a minute to process them and figure out what I was dealing with. And one thing I know for sure is that we each have the right to choose what we gonna contribute to this world or to another person. That's to say, you can bring bullshit. Oop, I didn't make it. You can bring crap to a person, or you can choose not to. You can choose to walk away. You don't have to be verbally abusive, physically abusive. You don't have to lie. You don't have to cheat. You don't have to steal. You don't have to do none of that. People choose to do that. And understanding that people choose to do it, because they didn't have to do it, allows you to frees you up to make the right decision for you. You know what I'm saying? So I went through the phase where a person did what they wanted to do because they wanted to do it. Okay. And because they wanted to do it, and it wouldn't be beneficial to me, that I didn't agree. What was I about to say? It's about, I learned the kind of person I am, I'm not dealing with it. I will fight you to the death, and then I'm leaving. If the scenario or situation requires me to fight you to the death, I will. I have no problem. I would prefer to just be able to get up, walk away, never talk to you again. But if I got to fight to get out of a situation and be okay, me and mine, I'll do that. But I'll cut it off. It will never exist again in my life. That's me. That's what my soul tells me to do. Okay, so that's how I've always performed in my life. Not once I realized that, not dealing with it, don't give a damn. You can say whatever you want to say, whatever. You get a blank face from me because I already know what I'm doing. Okay, so today, tell me why in this new reality, one of my pet peeves popped up today. And I knew it because, a couple of things popped up. I can see, I want to TMI. I got to think if I'm going to TM that one. Because there was a lot of things happening today that showed me I was in a whole different reality. So today, pet peeves pop up, but it ain't popping up in my life. It's just popping up around me, which indirectly involves me. This was a real table. Bam! I'm not doing it. When I say, and see, I told you I had the dream in which I was a Mexican man and I was running around some concentration camp, and I've been running around that mother sucker for years. This is in my dream realm. And I sat down on the wall one day. I said, I ain't running no more. You got to do what you got to do. So today, when this trigger reoccurred in my life, not in my life, but around me, therefore affecting me indirectly, I'm like, wham! I'm not doing it no more. By any means necessary, I would eradicate it. Eradicate is a good word. I'm eradicated. Why do I bring that up? I bring it up because what did I say? From my soul, I'm not putting up with nobody abusing me in no way, period. They have a choice. They can leave, cut ties, but if a person consciously selects to continue to engage you only to abuse you, misuse you, lie to you, cheat on you, whatever, you got to remember that's who they are. What Maya Angelou say, if they show you a duck, if they a duck, a quack, or whatever it is, believe them. And that's exactly what it is. So again, understanding that it is, if like me, I'm not into that. Immediately got to break yourself off. I'm saying I'm not living none of them scenarios that are associated with that kind of interaction. None. I'm not accepting none, period. So today, when the trigger occurs, and that was years ago, I figured that out. And it's been a slow development. It didn't happen overnight. But I think when I look back, I say I really was applying that. That's why I ain't got no friends. I was really applying that. And again, I understand why all those women have been under me, because I was really applying that. You're not going to beat my You're not going to take from me. You're not going to put me in poverty. You're not going to belittle me. It ain't going to happen. What you won't do, I can do. I will do it myself. And if love comes, that's wonderful. I can surrender. But until then, I'm what am I saying? I'm saying like that young girl, that 22-year-old, I don't remember her name, that was next door and not, I don't remember none of it, like her, as an example. She was beat down at 22 years old. I never saw the man put his hands on her, but I could imagine the sadness that existed in her eyes when I looked, the lostness, the begging for it, help me understand what the fuck I didn't make it, dealing with. That was the look. And her kids around her, little kids, dusty. Mm-mm. See, what I'm saying is, okay, me, he was a nice looking man. Now you want to keep your man? Fine. Keep your man. But girl, get up every day and give your kids a bath. If you ain't got nothing but a mattress on the floor, that's okay. Make it up. Go to the thrift store. Get some sheets. Throw them on there. Throw you some sheets up to the window. Put a little bowl of towel and do what you got to do. Get up every day. Make yourself pretty. That man going to keep dogging you and beating on you and mistreating you till you get tired. You're going to get rid of him. It's a natural process. Even one, either going to straighten up and it's going to fly right, or he's going to keep getting on your nerves, keep abusing you, and you're going to finally get rid of him one way or another. So don't worry about it. See, but what I keep bringing her up because she was so in disbelief, hopeless, overwhelmed, stuck. And I forgot what I was going to say. I'm bringing her up for a reason. Another thing that is occurring with humanity is we are stuck in disbelief. We can't comprehend or accept what the reality is, as I said again, about this realm. About what? There are beings that exist that are inhumane, that want to dominate the world, including your body and your soul. We can't comprehend it. We are struck with fear every day, having to go work a 9 to 5 and 9. People laid off due to what's occurring, not knowing if you're going to eat or have a roof over your head. We are struck with fear. We are afraid to move, And then on top of that, now all this stuff been going on for years. It's been building. Y'all know that's a common term here used on YouTube. We building. This has been building for 1,000 years. We were born into this. This has been a generational plan being executed generationally. And so we're to this place where we like that young girl. We don't know what to do. We are looking around at each other and nobody seems to have the answer. And what I'm saying is we never will have the answer if we don't accept the reality to this realm. But we will never get to understand what the reality is because we've been improperly influenced in so many ways. Racism is one of them. Colorism, another. These are all realities. These are all happenings in this world. There is economic stratification, those kind of things. We're separated by religion. We're fighting religious wars. All of these are tools that the powers that have been, are, and will ever be are using to debilitate humanity. They've been doing it in the past. They've advanced it, doing it now, and will continue to do it if we don't literally wake up. Right now, we are descending, and it's showing in our reality. We are not ascending. Do you have Leo in your chart? I do. I have a Leo rising. And burnt all my hair out of my head, pulled it all out. That Leo rising. Lord, are you conditioned? Conditioned like a mother sucker. Definitely. Some are born with the spirit. Some are born with the spirit of homosexuality. I don't deny that. I'm talking about it is too, how can I say it? Let me say it. It is too common. Homosexuality. Oh, I mean, every single time I try to talk about homosexuality, I don't know how to articulate it. I'll say, let me try to say it. In this realm, if I'm correct, and there are rules and regulations to this realm, and this is a self-contained ecosystem, meaning everything depends on the next thing to play its role for it to function in a particular way. That is to say, everything has to play its role in a very specific way to create a heaven-like state. If anything is changed or distorted or contorted, we could possibly create the opposite effect, which is a hell-like state. So, back to this self-contained ecosystem, which is our realm. If by chance the law and the rule is that it takes, what is it, an X chromosome and a Y chromosome to create a baby, a physical manifestation of a Y chromosome and X chromosome to create a baby, an offspring to feed into the system, this self-contained ecosystem, and keep it going, then the majority of the beings born here will be in line with that rule. However, there are anomalies that occur, and those anomalies will result in alternative sexual expressions or character traits. Hopefully that made sense. I just tried again for about the billionth time here on my channel. I believe there are people born homosexual, and I believe that based on the rules, again, I'm not trying to be offensive. I just be trying to look at the facts to really see what we're dealing with here to get a clear understanding. But again, we've been socially engineered, not saying you, but in general, to attack people that challenge these differences that we have, such as homosexuality as preference, But those that manifest this anomaly, I'm calling, that homosexuality that I'm defining as an anomaly. It's a reason, is what I'm saying. It does exist, but I believe it is a reason. And one of the reasons that I think is the case, number one, in science, they say after you replicate so many times, it has to be, or it is naturally a modification that takes place after a while. And so that's one, scientifically, possibly. And the other thing is that there is unseen or hidden forces in this realm. This is supposed to be a realm of duality, light and dark, black, white, up, down, realm of duality. So there always has to be the component that exists in this reality right here that offers us the ability to live out the alternative. Now, it has to exist. So, in order to have the heaven state, these are the rules, the laws, and the regulations of this realm. If you do this, this happens. But if you go against this, then this happens. So how can this happen over here, the alternative? It has to be a component that offers you that opposing energy. And what I'm saying is homosexuality is that component that offers an alternative to what? Create this reality how we want it to be, not how the creator, whoever it is, whatever it is, lets us suggest that it can be. It could be if we follow the rules. But that's the whole thing about the passions. And homosexuality has become very commercialized. When I say, like, even Lovecraft County, when I was watching a series of Lovecraft County, I said, well, Nancy, pay attention. Let's see if they show homosexuality in Lovecraft County. And they did. They showed it relative to two characters. One is a character called Montrose, which is the father of the head character or lead character, Tick. And he is, and the scenario plays out in the 1950s. And so, of course, there were people that were gay in the 1950s, and they were in the closet, or it was hidden because it wasn't mainstream, it wasn't acceptable, it wasn't the norm. Remember that people were very traditional then. So they showed this head character's father as being like on a down low, being a homosexual black male. Then it also, homosexuality was depicted with another character. The character name is Ruby, and Ruby is the second head character's sister. And not so they have Ruby being deceived to begin to have a sexual relationship with a white woman, because the white woman has transformed herself into a white man. So Lovecraft County, I wish I did movies and stuff, and because it's really interesting. I just want to talk about Lovecraft County for a moment and the Ruby character and her being in a sexual relationship with a white man whose name is William. But William is also, or actually, Christina, which is a white woman who is seeking immortality. Anywho, I've never heard anybody say that their Ruby and Christina / William, that their relationship in the movie really represents feminism. And I guess it's social, political, I don't know. When you start talking about feminism and white women, y'all may have heard this, I don't know. Not trying to get into it, but this is what it represents, their characters and the relationship between the characters. It represents feminism because Christina wants to have the equal rights to white males and equal pay, that kind of thing. So it represents feminism, the movement, feminism movement. Am I saying it right? And it also represents white women needing more social pool, more numbers. And so I hear, I'm not a part of, that they're trying to recruit many black women and have recruited black women into feminism, the feminism movement, for the purpose of, bulking their numbers up, having more social power. But it's being said, based on what I'm hearing, that the agendas that feminism is attempting to achieve don't benefit black women. And so their relationship in this Love County series represents that. But anyway, Ruby ends up having a sexual relationship, a homosexual, I guess, I don't know, lesbian relationship with Christina in the movie. But the interesting part is I've been hearing reviews. I listened to reviews on the Lovecraft episodes as well as the book. And so what they're filming in the series diverts from what is written in the book. And based on what's written in the book, I should look to see when that book was written, because depending on the time period in which it was written will also determine if homosexuality is introduced to the reader. And so what am I saying? I don't think, based on what the reviews I've been watching, that homosexual relationships were depicted in the book. But for the series, they made sure that it was shown, at least in two different ways. When I watched, it was something else I watched. What else did I watch? I have watched. It was something else. I was like, it's homosexuality in this too, and in that, and it becomes so obvious that it doesn't have to be to carry the storyline through. That's the part. The reason why the various homosexual relationships are being depicted in these programs is because it's media, I guess it is, media is attempting to make it all inclusive. It's the norm. But again, for somebody to say that, they're under attack. A person becomes under attack. Nobody looks at going back to the bare basics of the rules and regulations to this RAM. Nobody looks at that. Just totally dismissed and ignored. So, and like I said, YouTube is not going. They're going to limit this. I guarantee they're going to limit it or say it's not acceptable for viewership, and or somebody will watch this live stream, get butthurt and insulted, and maybe even what they call report me to YouTube, and I'll be smacked and put in time out. You know, I mean, if you really look at our reality, you can't speak on anything, nothing, and they need to make sure that the people can't speak on anything to straighten it out, to lead people to maybe second guess, to think, to maybe get to a point where they say, let me sit on this fire for a minute and let me process the facts and nothing else. I don't need no other person's, not even Nancy's, input. Let me look at this world and what it say. If I step off this building, what does this reality say? It say, well, what was it named? Newton said, hey, it's gravity. You're going to fall. That's the rules to the ramp, no matter how you do swing it. No matter how you swing it. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to hear from me like, hey, you step off that wall, you're going to fall, and you're going to hit this point of velocity or whatever, where it's going to level out. You don't need to hear that from me. All you need to do is go sit on something higher than the ground and see what happens. Throw a rock over, throw that apple over, whatever. You don't need me. It's the same thing about anything else. That's what I'm saying, sitting on the fire. The fire represents our passions. We have innate desires and urges and stuff. They real. They are part of our makeup. And we, as captains of our ships, our bodies, our vessels, our avatars, based on the rules of this realm, we have been we've been commanded to control our fire. Our fire is a part of our life. That's the Kundalini and everything. A person talks about passion. We're responsible for controlling our fire. But the thing of it is, we don't have to. That's when they talk about free will. You don't have to control your fire. Sexuality is just one of the ways fire is expressed. It could be anything from a belief. Ninth house of Sagittarius, fire element, your beliefs. Why is it considered fire? Fire is a motivator. It's putting that fire under your butt to get you up going. It's that. Your belief is that fire can get your butt up and going. Get you out here, say you a Christian or something, and your Christian doctrine say that you're supposed to be charitable. That belief is the fire under your butt to get up and go be charitable. You know what I'm saying? So any passion, any fire can go combust. It can get out of control. So when it's talking about religion and stuff and doctrines and stuff, we start talking about religious fanatics that end up doing what? Going to a church or a mosque or something, and I can't say it. You know, they would definitely ban me. That what they call a religious zealous, you know, a religious fanatic, and it's only their way and what they believe, yada yada. And you ain't even proved it. You ain't went and sat with yourself and controlled your fire. You didn't let your stuff get out of control. You know what I'm saying? So all of these, our fire, we are not controlling, is what I'm trying to say. I talk so much. I'm talking about people that create humanity throughout the history of humanity. It's been getting worse generation after generation. Right now, we are, I think, unlike any other time period, there's the majority of the world's population just giving over to their fire. They're feeding the fire, whether it's religion, whether it's sexuality, whether it's food. It could be food. You know, this is the rule. And we didn't study this over here on my channel. We didn't cover it. Where you can go, 3 weeks without eating or something like that, 28 days before you begin to suffer from malnutrition and begin to starve to death. So You gotta eat. Do you have to eat like an obsessive hog? The answer is no, because the obsessive hog, the greed, the what do you call the overindulgent? What do you call a person that I can't eat overindulgent person? The what's the song? The term for eating, overeating, being a glutton, a glutton. Glutton is one of the seven deadly sins, right? Gluttony is a fire. You are motivated to eat. Try not to eat 3 weeks. In a couple of weeks, your stomach gonna start going crazy. It's gonna start sweet because you're starting to eat off yourself. So it's an urge. It's motivating you to get up and go what? Find an apple. Find an apple and say, nourish this vessel. Keep it going. So it is that fire that we have to control. I'm guilty. You know what I'm saying? These are natural parts of our makeup as human beings. And the powers that have been, that are, and will be know this. And they have used our natural traits and attributes against us. We no longer know that we are required to control our fire, to sit with it. I've talked about the Buddhist monk and all that and what it really represents. These are people, some of them, not all, I'm sure some of them posers there too. But there are some people, Buddhist monk, they the one that got to coin this area, because it ain't just them, it's people in everyday life. I might have a neighbor that do it, not none of these. But it's somebody somewhere in my community and in your community that know how to sit with their fire. I'm gonna tell you how to know these people. An example is you might meet a single man. We have been led to believe that if you see a man by himself, not chasing women or womanizing, there's something wrong with him. But it's possible that that's the person, that's an example of a person that know how to sit with their fire and control it. They not excited by every woman that passes them, or they're not accepting every sexual opportunity. What they call it, practicing abstinence. That's controlling your fire, controlling your fire. Or, again, the expression of fire comes different in different forms, but that's a excellent example. And the person is not weird; they just not chasing after women, womanizing, gotta be, tapping that. They not even after. They might be abstinent. It's people that literally are abstinent their whole life. Not that they're scared to have sex. They might get to the point that they're scared to have sex, because as the years tick on, people's moral fiber or moral value is declining. So over time, they really be like, oh Lord, AIDS is out, it's booming, it's increased. Oh, we got syphilis, gonorrhea, they got something new, the HPV, the PPV, or whatever else. So yeah, a person might be more leery after years and years of watching everything decline. But for the most part, people like that, they are intentionally doing so and know what they're doing. But as far as socially, or was it culturally, depending on what culture, but socially, it's not normal. We've been programmed to see that as not normal and badmouth this kind of person. Oh, something wrong with them. Falsely accuse them. All kinds of stuff. Why is that? Why is that? Why is that? Why? That's what I say we don't stop. We don't look at this reality and what's really taking place. Why if a person talk about sexuality, they wrong. They are ostracized by the rest of society. They are belittled. They are blocked. Why would that be? Why if a person practice abstinence because they want to they're controlling their fire, why are we taught to look at them bad, talk about them bad, chastise them, create lies and different things like that, and to ostracize them? Why? Why are we immediately calling them gay or weirdo or pedophile? Why? I'm gonna give you an example. I don't know this for a fact at all, You know, everything in this world goes against what I'm about to say, but I'm just offering an example. Like Michael Jackson, this man is known all over the world. People that know of Michael Jackson, which I think is everybody, we know him only to have really had been associated with or friendly with a few people. Diana Ross, were they sexually interacted? I don't know, but I don't think so. Marie Presley or Lisa Presley was her name, Elvis Presley's daughter or something. Yeah, I guess they were sexually active. But really, when you look at at least when I look at Michael Jackson, I don't see a man that seemed like he had a sexual relationship with anybody. That's what I see. And even though again he was with Madonna, what's her name, Diana Ross, Marie Presley, and whoever else he might have hung with, I didn't get the feeling that this man was sexual with them people. I really never did. All my life, even as a kid, a teen, an adult, even now, I don't get it. But in the real world, in our world, our reality, they were able to say that he was a pedophile. Was he? He didn't seem like an oversexed person. They say because the way he danced, he grabbed his crouch and do his thing. That was evidence that he was feeling on himself. Because he had the kids come over, supposed to have slept in the same bed with him. My question was always, where were the parents? Where were the parents? But I'm not digress from that. But that he shared his bed with six children. Again, where was the parents? But I'm gonna let that go. You know what I'm saying? But that we never saw overly sex individual. It never seemed like that to me. But we were able to say successfully that this man was a pedophile, that he ruined these kids' life, and that he had to pay tarnishing him. I find that interesting. Another time this has happened was Bill Cosby recently. Bill Cosby, since I was a little girl, this man, he's a man now. Hold on now. We know men. Black, white, don't matter. We know men now. Well, okay, he's a man. But Bill Cosby, for as long as I know, always had this demeanor of like a righteous man. Interested in helping kids. Fat Albert, being a cartoonist, an actor. I just never got this sexual predator kind of energy from him. But he a man now. Don't get it wrong. But it depends on what kind of man he is still. But based on what media tells us and the people that testify against him, he was what they call spiking people's stuff and getting them some. Why would a man of his caliber have to spike somebody's drink to get him some? His caliber? I mean, make it make sense. But anybody can tell us anything and we believe it. Now, Bill Cosby is 70, 80 years old. They got this man locked up. And so I'm not going to go into it deep because then I have to start talking about racism. What's they call it? Systematic racism, whatever. Got to be. Because that stuff happened 30 years ago. What is the statute of limitation for something? We talk about this man dealing with grown women. See, when I was growing up, my mama taught me, said, baby, when it was time for me to go out and start hanging out, going to the bars and stuff and trying to live my best life, my mom was like, baby, don't you ever go nowhere and leave your drink unattended. And when you're sitting there, either you keep your hand over your drink or you put a paper towel on top of it. Never walk away from your drink. I don't care who you with. So let's go back to these women that say that Bill Cosby spiked their drink 30 years after the fact, no evidence. This man, is being tarnished. You know what I'm saying? Why am I talking about this? I don't know. This is an Aquarius Rambler Rant. So I just want to. But the reality is that we who? People in humanity at this time are descending down the hill. And these are the reasons why. We don't know truth from fiction. Not at all. We can't even handle the truth. It was a movie out long time ago, long before my time to say, truth. You can't handle the truth. We cannot handle the truth. We are in love with lies and fiction. And reason why we love lies and fiction and different things like that, because they do what? They allow us to do what? Go dive in and combust our fire. Anything that will allow us or justify us combusting our fire rather than sitting with it and controlling it, we will turn a blind eye to. Period. And that's what's going on. We are not ascending. We are descending. We are not bringing heaven here. We are not moving to the fifth dimension. We are descending. We are going into lower forms. People just don't want to admit it. Anywho, another thing I want to talk about. Oh, yeah. Who was this? I heard something. It was, I'm posing a question because people, this is an Aquarius rant, and I'm irritated with y'all say, oh wow, I have to check that show out. Michael and Bill were great entertainers, but behind the scenes, I think something wasn't right in the milk with those two. Media is fake, unfortunately. Media is fake, so we have no way of knowing. We really have no way of knowing because publicly they didn't show, you know, those type of things. They did not show those type of things at all. We have no way of literally knowing. You know, that's this. We live in a very crazy world. So, as mentioned, and as you know, this is an Aquarius rant, and so I do TMI. I share my experiences, concerns, and revelations. And what I've been looking at is my immediate environment and the people in it. I've shared that I know that I'm jumping realities. And so I'm dealing with different, I don't even know how to say. Looked at my grandbaby earlier today, aware that I've been jumping realities. And I was like, this baby is new. So he can't have existed in many of the realities that I've visited down through my years. He is a part of, I don't even know how to say it, certain realities. And so what I'm saying, he hasn't had a lot of life experiences of his own. So who the grandbaby is in this reality will look similar to my grandbaby in another reality or in even another reality. But another person that I'm around all the time, they've had so many years of experience, and they themselves and jumped their own realities for how many other times they jumped to how many different realities they jumped. That person is slightly different in each reality. Some realities I interact with them, other realities I don't. I don't know how to explain it. So in this reality that I'm currently in, that I would like to sit with for a while, for a reason, is a reality that I told you one of the attributes is drama. I'm not a person that likes drama. I don't want it. I refuse. But I also have come to understand that certain things that occur are outside a person's control. So I'm gonna say if drama want to come and create a scenario, it can use others and other things outside of myself create that drama and set it in my environment or near me, or it comes in indirect or through the back doorway. And let me see. So now in this reality, with the relative details that create this reality, people been getting on my nerves. I say like that. People been getting on my nerves, and I'm sure I have theirs. I try to stay quiet in my space because I'm watching. I be watching to see. I try to be real quiet and stay like in a corner. Imagine me in a dark corner, and I'm in that dark corner because I don't want to. Well, hello. How are you? I still alive. I'm about to be off in a minute. Oh shoot! Y'all really just got to get on my nerves.
You seen Annabelle?
No, they said it wasn't good.
Yeah, it's some parts that's stupid, but it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Yeah. Oh, okay. I heard that. Oh, hey, Jay, come here. Hey, hand me that. Was that real mail? She came and delivered.
Hey, look, I ain't telling her to do it. She was talking to you. I was like,
give me some kiss.
Where you got my kiss?
Where is this? What is this?
I don't know.
You're so perfect. I love you. Thank you. So, in this reality, people getting on my nerves, I'm getting on theirs. But what I try to do is I stand like in a dark corner in an experience, meaning I'm not being lioness. I'm not being out there. I'm not trying to be the center of attention. I try to be quiet, not to provoke or to initiate any conversation or anything like that. If I can, stand in a dark corner because I want to see what the reality is going to create as the scene, as a scenario that I have to go into. I have no choice but to go into the scenario. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I tell you, when it comes to drama, I'll do whatever I got to do to get me and mine out of it. But if I can get away, I don't want no part of it. I'm not going to help stitch it and create it. That's what I know for sure. So I'm self-righteous there. I tell y'all, I'm arrogant, egotistical, narcissistic, and I'm not going to stitch it there because I don't believe in it. So I watch the fabric of a scenario being orchestrated, put together, the scenario, everything, the scene, the people. So I see many times I can see a scenario being set up, a scene. Imagine a stage being put up for a play. I stand in the back corner. I can see the scene being set up. I see the actors and the characters that they play come on stage. I'm always the last one to come on stage. I'm forced to. I'm the kind of actor that can push out. Like have to push me out there because I'll do everything in my power. If it ain't a scene out, a scenario I want to play out, I will try not to. I will try not to. And that's one of the realizations I have had in this life is that as long as you in this world, in this life, and you up and at 'em, being you breathing and alive, you're going to play whatever role. You're going to play it. 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 I mean, let me give you an example of what I mean. I once knew a person that was a health fanatic. They were a small person, thin, very health conscious. But something happened to that person unforeseen. Now, I'm saying this because, as an example, because they, with all their power and their abilities and their know-how, and their, everything that was in their control, they did what they could do to be healthy, to live a long and healthy life, et cetera, et cetera. No smoking, no cigarettes, no doing none of that. Totally against it. Hey, they was about living long, prosper. Anyway, something unseen occurred within them, and it debilitated them. And so they went from being that health person living their best life to being debilitated for a year or two before their demise. See, that person, they was in the backstage in a dark corner of their life. Only time they came out on stage is when it had to do with health, fitness, fruits, exercise, staying healthy, living their best life, going to work, being the best citizen person they could possibly be. They had no idea that another stage was being constructed, that they would be forced into, and a fairly young person, middle age, into a nursing home, or what they call it, a rehab institute, that, with a very slim chance that they would recover. And it took 2 years, they didn't. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean about is certain things that can happen in your life that you have no power over. And I talk. What was I talking about? Oh, okay. So I use that as just to offer an example. This is Aquarius Rambling Rant. I'll be all over the place. Right now, I'm talking about me in relationship to other people. Right now, that's getting on my nerves in real time in this reality. Anyway, what I'm noticing, since this coronavirus stuff started, I've been talking about people in my immediate environment, in my location that I interact with, cross paths with, and have different exchanges with because they close to me, one way or another, in close proximity to me. And the city and the movement and the movement in the city and the spiritual energy in the city. I've been talking about all this kind of things, reporting on how the corona and relative experiences are having an effect on people and their soul, spirit and different stuff like that. So here I am today doing the same thing. And what I've noticed is keeping with reality. There's a time period in which people that lost their jobs were able to apply for unemployment and get extra pandemic benefits from the government to help sustain their life, And I was talking about how I think it was a setup for all of this to happen, everything. But I focused on the unemployment and the amounts of money people were getting. And I was like, hey, there are certain people that ain't never had that kind of money and they losing it. They are losing it. So now I'm giving an update on that. I'm seeing the spirit of greed has emerged. And I think I started talking about it, but now I'm watching it play out. The spirit of greed is here. And remember, we're talking about fires burning. People had no choice but to contain a fire when they was working 30, 40, 50 hours at a close to or just above minimum wage, $15 and under, we'll say. They had no choice but to curb their fire. Yeah, they might indulge in something, but they couldn't because they didn't make that kind of money, didn't have that kind of free time. So people have gotten to feed the fire, the urge, the passion, whether it's food, drink, alcohol, materials like in materialization. And the fire has, like I was talking about the porn, watching it and the fire starting to burn. It was a critical moment for me, as it is for anybody else, that you either put out a flame that has been you've been improperly influenced with, and or has began to go combust. You have a vital moment to either put it out, extinguish it, or control it, or otherwise it's going to go combust. Let me give you a physical worldly example of what I'm talking about. But understand that I'm talking about the things that we desire that we're passionate about, that we long for, that we lust for. Uh, Example: a person can be in the kitchen cooking, and just a splash of grease can start a grease fire. There's a vital moment right there for a person to react. What will you do if you like frying French fries and just that quick, a splash of grease pops and hit the fire, and the fire jump up into a skillet full of grease that you're frying little French fries in or something? It's that vital moment, the critical moment right there. What do? That's the same thing that has been presented to all people that have been able to indulge in their passions. That critical moment, what do? A person that is prepared and aware of that possibility know what to do. Will it work? You don't know, but it increases the chances that everything gonna pan out and be okay. Come on in. An example: when it happens, thank you very much, a person could immediately know instinctually, poof, turn the fire off first. That means disconnect yourself to whatever is, fanning the flame. Hit the fire first. We still got the grease burning. What's the next thing you can do? Take salt, big loads of salt, something that can extinguish it, right? Or baking soda, poof, put it down. But if you're not prepared, if you don't know that combustion is possible, things can get out of control real quick. That fire from that one splash of grease moving over to the pot of grease can catch onto a cabinet or a curtain, etc., then things are out of control. And that's what's happening now. We are going to hell, but we are in hell in a handbasket. And the handbasket is on fire. Some people for the first time have been able to pacify, and not even just pacify, but they got to indulge. If you can't satisfy, you can pacify. Some of these things, they already been kind of pacified. They got to indulge. Indulging is another thing. Indulging is a whole nother thing. Because indulgence, you can keep like it keeps reoccurring like an addiction. Keep feeding it and more frequently, and a more abundantly, feeding the fire. And so that's happening now. And so a spirit is here. That's always been here. We know about it. I'm talking about the spirit of greed, desire. It's not just with certain people anymore. We can say, like, a lot of times people that was greedy was very, people really on what they call it, climbing the corporate ladder, could be greedy. Could really be greedy. Super rich people, the wealthy, that's a whole nother level. Outside of greed, that's a whole nother level. So I'm just talking about people just being greedy in different ways. You can be greedy. It exists, but not like now. Not like now. Not like now. We are. What y'all talking about? Just by my intuition, Bill Cosby always made me cringe, but not Michael Jackson. Really, Bill Cosby? I never got that from him. My only issue I had with Bill Cosby, but that's not knowing a person or being in a company, but he didn't fully carry the spirit like some of his peers. I'll say his peers. That's to say they were born during a period, dealt with the same kind of things he, was susceptible to deal with. They were a particular type of people. So only concern I had, even though I did not see him except for in the Cosby Show, but that could have been a part of his character because that's the only time I kind of saw it. Where that's when you hear me talk about like the rise of the expansion of the middle class, and especially the black community joining in the middle class and coming into, becoming middle class folks, upper middle class folks, represented like in even the Bill Cosby Show. That those people were very dismissive. Some of them got to be very dismissive of their uh, their race, their families. They didn't understand. This is where I believe certain, again, rejections of like diet. Diet is a great example. Prior to that period of growth, economic growth, people were eating, I don't know. I came up during a period when people were still cooking and having holidays, so they cooked turkeys and Cornish hens and chitlins and greens and cornbread and macaroni and cheese, and that's what a food pyramid came in, and it was bread and it was butter and it was all those things. By the 80s, even before that, but by the 80s, the diet started to change. People became more health conscious because they was making better money, get more world travels in, learn about different foods, I guess, that was played into it. And so people, diet change. This is just one change that I witnessed. But it was a whole lot of changes that took place. And so people diet changed, and it changed to where people were becoming vegetarians. People started wouldn't eat fried food. They got rid of salt and bought in, what was that stuff they started eating? And Splenda. That's when Splenda, I think, made its entry. So getting rid of sugar. These are kind of things. So it was a rejection of I'll go to my cousin's house and for the holiday, and traditionally, come to my mama's house or one of her siblings' house for the holiday. Back in the day when I was a real little kid, it was a feast. Again, turkey, dressing, macaroni and cheese, chitlins. It was everything you could possibly want. Cornbread, butter, everything. And this is how that generation ate, and they fed their families. Families pretty big. So then my mama kids and my mama's siblings had that generation that was in their prime and taking their rulership over serving the social constructs by the 80s. So now they did Bill Cosby people, men and women. And so now my cousins, we hosting the Thanksgiving. We go over there, they got green beans with onion things on them, crisp onions. Go over there, they got, let's see what they might have. A spring salad with spinach and whatever else, some turnips. So now coming from like was soul food holiday or Sunday to this new generation, and so the older family members is like, what is this? What is this? And so they were very dismissive of what I'm saying to the traditions or the practices of the older generation or their parents like that. That's what I'm saying I saw in Bill Cosby. That's what I'm trying to get out. But not, and I saw it only in his character of Dr. Huxtable, because that's the period he represented in that. But as far as his work outside of that, I never saw that a lot really coming off of him, where I might have seen it in other people. So I didn't see that at all. I didn't see that. And I've seen it. I know that spirit. I know it well. And that's just one example. I guess that's what, cultural change or something. I don't know what that might be labeled at. So Bill Cosby, I never really got, I can't recall getting a bad vibe off of him. And then he acts silly. I do have an issue that he had the moments because he was dealing with children and you know, again, the caricatures he was doing in cartoons, he would be silly, and I'm not into silly men. But that was it. He seemed like he was a really family oriented man to me. But to each his own. And I guess the witnesses are the people that know him well. And I would say this: that is probably the problem with being rich and socially popular and affluent. That, you know, all of us are under the scrutiny of anybody that is in a close proximity that witnesses and experiences us. But that person that witnesses and experiences us, whoever they may be, we're left to their scrutiny. Who are they? You know what I'm saying? Who are they? Like people, when it came to Michael Jackson, were these people truly righteous? See, this is start stuff that start leading us into the spiritual stuff. Were these people really righteous, or were they on a money grab? You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Cosby. Were the people that testify about him, were they really righteous, or were they on a money grab? You know, that kind of thing. And that is a part of the making of our reality. You know what I'm saying? So what am I saying? I'm saying, hey, just in a hypothetical scenario, let's say that Michael Jackson was falsely accused. Let's say Bill Cosby was falsely accused. However, they've been persecuted. That creates our reality that we will experience from that moment forward. So that's the spiritual manifestation of such things. Do you get what I'm saying? That's a spiritual manifestation of such things. We ain't got to know. We ain't got to know. It ain't got to come out. But trust and believe the reality that comes into existence will reveal if that was the truth or not. The truth or not. I don't know how to say it no way. I attempted to show how the spirituality manifests in the physical. Because the thing of it is, an example, let's say hypothetically, there are a dozen pedophiles. Who was that? They talk about Epstein. I don't know a lot about it. I think I heard that a man named Epstein, whoever that may be, is a pedophile. And it's a lot of people testifying. It's all over the place that they're pedophile. And not only him, a whole bunch of other people. And it's supposed to be paper evidence. See, like Bill Cosby, based on what I'm hearing, I don't follow none of it. Just hearsay, here and there. There's no physical evidence. But like this Epstein guy, if I got it right, may be wrong. Just hypothetical case scenario if I had to. There is physical evidence against some folks. Now, I don't know if this is all conspiracy. To me, it's just hearsay. They got physical evidence. But now, Bill Cosby, as an example, they've already been tried and sentenced, and is currently serving his time. That quick. But this other person, this Epstein person, whoever, and other people like that person, with evidence, have committed sexual crimes or deviancy, has sexual deviancy, something, whatever I label it. But yet, they ain't been tried, prosecuted, serving their time. So, our future, what I'm saying, will be a representation of that. That's how spirit manifests itself. So, right away with me, continue with that example. If by chance Bill Cosby, a person like Bill Cosby, has been falsely accused, but sentenced, and he's a righteous man, then we've locked up a righteous man. But at the same time, during the same period, a true pedophile, whatever that person's name is, I say it, is truly a pedophile, and it's hardcore evidence, and they still walking free. That is what will create our reality. That's how our reality will look. That we prosecute the righteous and we let the free and we let the one that is guilty walk free. So in that case, then such activities will become the norm. That's how reality, the future of our reality is created. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's around the corner. So my whole thing, it doesn't matter what story is told. You can erase Bill Cosby, Epstein, or anything else, Michael Jackson, and you can put any person in any scenario, any story in that place. Ain't nobody got to see nothing. It is that term. It is what it is. It is what it is. Whatever the facts are, will manifest and will create our future. Period. That's the spiritual side of it. That's something you can't physically do nothing about. Either you're going to uphold righteousness or you're not. Either you're going to falsely accuse the righteous and uphold the unrighteous and let it do what it do, or you're gonna convict the unrighteous, uphold the righteous, and let it do what it do and manifest our future. Again, we are descending into hell. Hope they understand. This part it committed. I thought I saw something like that, but wasn't that the person that was supposed to be about some pedophilia or something? I want to show that one too, but I don't want them to start, YouTube to start. They already always starting with me. So let me see where I left off at. Michael had no business having children in the bed, in my opinion, period. I can't argue that. But this is the thing. We think so small. I don't know. I wasn't there. But my point is, have you ever seen, now we talking about this man, I wonder how much Michael Jackson's worth. I wonder. Because I'm thinking possibly, this man could have, I don't know, wasn't there, just using my imagination, he could have a bed as big as a whole room. And on the other side of the room could be a wall of the theater wall with a curtain that dropped down to show movies. Nowhere near the kids. And it could be so many, he could have even had, chaperones in there. You don't know the lies that people will tell to get money. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Michael Jackson could be the biggest pedophile that ever existed. Again, those are the things that we won't know. Only the people that's in their immediate proximity can truly testify against them. But if them people ain't righteous, we not going to know the truth. And so when we will know the truth is when it manifests in the physical. That's the only way we're going to know the truth. And then we have to live out whatever the reality is. So that's why they say you got to check yourself. You got to check yourself. So, he said, yeah, I agree. A lot of people are gaining weight during the pandemic. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. I keep trying, but I sit here all day long and I'm drinking pop. I gotta stop. Coffee, pop. And then it's Halloween period. I got candy downstairs. Oh, God. Everybody I talk to, they're getting increasingly bored. I find that my creative streak is creative abilities are being tested because I don't know what else to do. What can I possibly do? I'm not a book writer. I don't want to write a book. I've talked about everything I feel like I need to talk about. I don't know. Right now, I got everything I need. I don't need to shop for anything else. What do you do? See, that's the dilemma we're running into right now. We have been filling our time, our lives with work, going to work to what? Uphold some social construct here in this world. That's what we've been filling our time with. We have been filling the rest of our time with celebrations, birthdays, holidays, different things like that. And then we throw a couple of little hobbies in with some gardening or something, maybe some vacations. That's how we've been filling our time. All of that has been shut down from us. So we don't know what to do. We bored. But if we go back in time, remember looking at the bare basics, If we go back in time, we would never be in this situation because what we had our own, we would have our own, or people did have their own lots or plots, and they would be busy from sunrise to sun go down, till sun would rise to fall, doing what? Working their land. Working their land is what do what? Secure their livelihood, meaning getting their food together to eat, planning for the food for the if they had to go through the winter, fall, and winter months, they were busy doing all that. So only had periods to stay up from the sunrise when the sun came up so they could see until it went down. Now we got lights to stay on up all night long, TV that stay on all night. We got cell phones, all kind of cars, but we can't go nowhere and do nothing. So now, I mean, to me, I'm pretty okay, but I could just imagine that a lot of people could really be taking this hard. People that aren't used to being by themselves, or people that are by themselves most of the time, like seniors and stuff, and now they're alone. What are we to do? What can we do? If you have any suggestions about what a person can do to keep themselves entertained, please share. Another thing I've been doing, other than watching more movies than I usually do, because I done seen everything. I got to turn this fan on, drank this coffee, y'all, and it got hot. Woo! One more thing that I've been doing, other than watching all these movies, something that I had not done in a long time, is on Facebook they have games. And so I play one little game on Facebook, but I have a hard time getting into the virtual stuff, and they want my money for virtual stuff. But I put like $10 on one virtual game, and it made me mad. So I went to another one that I like. It's like finding hidden objects that preoccupy my mind. But I really don't know what to do with myself, excuse me now. I didn't do a lot of, I did try to plant a garden. It went south, so I just ripped that all out. So I didn't have that to maintain or pull up now. That will keep me busy. The grass, I told you, obeyed me and it stopped growing. I think I cut it one time since then. I might cut it one more time before the fall completely comes in. So all the research that I've done has led me to not a dead end, but a pit, like we fallen into a pit and we all stagnated, stuck on the same thing, looking around at each other like, oh, how do I get security? How do I get stability? What do I do? Who do I interact with? Again, basically what we're talking about now is not being feeling like you emotionally secure, stable, have that support system, not sure about your physical worldly well-being and security, or if you're going to be employed. These are the concerns that we're having. And it's also about who do we socialize with. Some of us are afraid to interact with others due to the coronavirus. And then others of us want to interact with just specific people to ensure that we get that emotional security, or at least we have the potential to get it, or financial support or security in some way. So that's the kind of pit I see us all in, stagnated. And it's the void that, from my research, studying astrology and tarot, is a pit that we're like in, a void. And the spirit is saying, hey, most of y'all are trying to fill this void that you are feeling or sensing within yourself, within your consciousness, within your being, by what? People. Thinking you can fill it with resources or a better job or this. But the answer is not that. The answer is to fill it with it. It what? God, all, universe, how you like to label it, that higher being. And I don't know. See, I don't see, I personify God, but what is it? What is God? What is this absolute thing? It is the truth. Earlier we talked about it was truth. Whatever is the truth. To me, God is the truth. You know, we can do whatever thing, we can do whatever we want to do. We can manipulate stuff, distort it, do whatever is truly the truth and will exist forever and it's pure and it's unadulterated and you can't get rid of it and all this and it can change everything. That is God to me. So, but I prophesy, but it's saying, fill yourself with me. And so I was asking it today. I was like, how do I feel myself with you? And I really don't know who you are. I personify you to maybe to comprehend you, but how do I fill a void with you? And the only thing that I could figure from when I asked the question, the sense is, again, we have a choice. I go back to, us having a choice about how we're going to deal with any circumstance, situation, or person outside of ourselves. I feel myself with it through my actions. I express it. Remember, I did a video called why you exist. Why you exist. And I talked about living beings as a multiplicity of the Creator or God. We are a fractal. We are a particular perspective of it. We're a perspective of it. It like imagine God having how many people in the world right now? 7.8 billion people. So if everybody had two eyes, how much would that be? 15.6 billion, 15.6 billion eyes, or 7.8 pairs of eyes. That is God. That's God. We are a fractal of it. We are perceiving from a particular, from a particular angle or perception. And all of it together is God. All of it together is God. And so it was saying, okay, from your perspective, Nancy, as an example, if the answer is for you to, and you or anybody else to fill yourself up with me, it goes back into do unto others as you have them do unto you. Remember, everybody got the right. So since God is all things, all consciousness, God can be reflected as the devil. And the devil residence or scene that he is affiliated with is hell. So I'm saying that I can fill myself up as you can, as any of us can, with demonic attributes. We can express ourselves in that way. Giving over to the fire, letting the fire go combust, and create the scene that is relative, which is like a hell-like scene. Or if we want some peace, we can do unto others as we have them do unto us. And we can be compassionate, humane, loving, supportive, cordial, etc., etc. And that is an expression of God as well. So when he say fill yourself up, people, fill yourself up with me. You know, it's saying, hey, take on the attributes that you want to see reflected in your life. Now, remember, when we start talking about hell is a character trait, a feature in hell is fire. Remember, fire is your passions. What was I going to say? Your passions, remember, are urges that cannot be satisfied. They can never be satisfied. They can only be what? Pacified. Therefore, when the pacification ends, the void opens back up. The longer opens back up, and the fire come back, and you try to feed it again. So since we know that, we know then that the expression of God through the perception of evil doings, I'll say, is going to lead to the void returning. But we also know that if there is ongoing, continuous collaboration and collaboration and harmony, working culturally amongst all beings here on earth, that there is this collaboratory move it's like to be content. Is it content? Content. Because remember, it's about the fire, your passions, your desire, your urges. Through those expressions, you are aware you can't have everything, is what I'm saying. You are aware that you can't have everything. You can't eat everything. You can't make everything like an atomic bomb. You can't make everything. You can't be everything. You can't exist forever. You are aware of that. So it's like the state of acceptance about what this RAM is and what it offers. And so it's the container of the fire. And because the fire is contained, it's not keeping opening up this void, the void that we're trying to close right now. We have the opportunity to close it, but we're not closing it. Again, another complex concept to try to articulate. But hopefully it makes some sense. But many times it don't make sense because what? This is an Aquarius rant. Okay, so I want to, I don't know. There's a, oh, yeah. Here's one more thing, and I'm going to let it go because I've been on here for a while. Talk about what kind of power. Okay, I talked about that. Now, I don't know how to really put this in, but it's my testimony. Oh, wow, this was a big one, and I should have wrote more notes. Because it was about self-empowerment. Self-empowerment. And it had to do with what I wanted to talk about, has to do with the occult, crystals, astrology, and people going back to religion after engaging in the occult, going back to religion with a primary focus on Christianity, saying they've been saved. They've been saved. What? Okay, well, don't lose it. That some of the people that have staked this claim and made the testimony that they were engaged in and or indulged in the occult or the occult and occultic practices, and were saved and went back to a religion or to a religion, but a primary focus on Christianity. There was something that was going on when they were participating in the occult, is that the occult oh God, I wish I could remember what I heard. The occult are tools to help. Like for me, this is not, I'm going to do bad on this. Literally heard this. This is just a message I got today. They are a message, not a message. What is it? A means, a method, methods to deciphering the various aspects in our realm. What was it saying? And the awakening was known of. It was predetermined. It was predestined to occur. The awakening. Remember, to awaken does not mean that you are guaranteed to ascend. It just that means that you become aware. You're not completely in the blind to like the reality, the construct, the makeup, the rules, the regulations surrounding this construct and ecosystem. And so, because there's so much complexity to this realm, the occultic tools organize those things. It categorizes the various, again, aspects of this reality in this realm and things like that. And so those exist for the purpose of categorizing, logging, and categorizing the truth and facts about this reality so that they won't be lost, so that all will know the truth about this reality, this realm. That is to say, it is supposed to assist humanity. These people that state these claims that they were saved from the occultic practices were using these various tools for their own selfish purposes. Don't get it twisted. I say don't get it twisted because there's some of what I heard. It said that the introduction, and people call it being initiated, introduction to these various occultic tools, such as astrology, different forms of divination, astrology, or tarot reading, runes, etc., etc. People are initiated in different ways. One way is self-exploration, learning through using your life because you know your life better than anything. So it helps you learn, it helps you train. That's how you get initiated when you call. Even if, like for instance, going back to our social structure and how some people hold power and whatever they say is right. Take one of them people that's considered right, they hold power because they are acceptable to the standards. They can teach somebody one of those occultic tools or more, one or more. Other occultic tools, introduce them to them, initiate them. Even though that person may initiate them, the student is still going to learn through themselves what that stuff really is, which every tool is and what it's capable of doing. And so what I'm talking about is a process that takes place The process begins with the initiation or the introduction to whatever cultic tool. It's the process of learning it and then relating it to oneself in order to know it up close and personal. And then from that, it is a uh, expansion that occurs where it is no longer about yourself. You're not trying to understand the tool through you anymore. You're not trying to understand you anymore. You're not understanding on a like a global level or a more mass level. And so through being able to understand and um decipher energies and understand and articulate uh, your findings through whatever tool, called the tool you use, you are able to assist others, humanity, and help us grow. Ultimately, hopefully, seeing those that testify and relinquish cultic practices and rituals did so because they never came out of themselves. They only did it for themselves, one way or another, completely to understand themselves, to make themselves wealthier, to do this and that. It never came outside of that. And dang, why did it say that? Can I finish? What was it about? Let's see it. Understanding the process. I don't even remember what it was. The participation in occultic practices is to induce self-empowerment for the purpose of uplifting humanity, or something like that. Just sharing what I heard. Remember, this is an Aquarius rant. So, talking about different forms of divination, uh, astrology, tarot, crystals. And if you don't use these tools right, a person can get have a negative experience with them. You know, we have a negative experience. I was trying to think of an example. It's the use of these things. What I say, like tarot as an example. Now I'm gonna let y'all go at this. Tarot as an example. When you really study the tarot cards and you look at them, you can really see the psychology of human beings, the different psychological makeups. You can see if you understand tarot, the level of a person's intelligence. And when I say the level of a person's intelligence, understanding what you're looking at when you look at the tarot card, well, when you look at like in a tarot deck, as an example, you may look at the five of something. Let's say the five of swords. What would that tell me about a person's intelligence? Well, when you look at the five of swords, if it's an odd number, therefore it suggests instability in one's thoughts, communications, ideas, mental processing. It shows a level of what? Intellectual, what do they call it? Intellectual development, arrested mental development, a lack of intelligence, comprehension. And because of that lack of understanding, clarity, being able to organize thoughts, to foresee, forethought, to comprehend. It, in a direct relationship to that, a person can become very messy, inconsiderate. That's the way it manifests. That they do whatever and they say whatever without even it seems like a forethought. I mean, like they real crude, rude, and obnoxious, those kind of things. But that is directly tied many times into their intellectual capacities. Where this is what I'm talking about, tarot cards as an example. But if we look at the King of Swords, what can that suggest about a person's intelligence? Well, a king is number one, a ruler. They are an authority figure, and they got there because they have forethought and vision, and they have the ability to comprehend, to organize, to collaborate, to negotiate. They have certain attributes, and those kind of example attributes line up with certain behaviors and character traits and the way you carry oneself, even to the point a person can become arrogant and narcissistic. Depends on how far it goes. But why am I bringing it up? Because I'm talking about the use of these various occultic tools. In some religions, so it's wrong. But what it does, because this is such a enormous, in comparison to us as an organism, such an enormous realm, and it has so many layers to it, talking about microscopic all the way to macro, so many layers to it, so many intricate details that create this reality. It's hard to see and understand what you're within and what you're interacting with and you're having an exchange with. Using these very occultic tools allows you to compartmentalize certain things. Like I was just talking about using the tarot and just those two cards, the Five of Swords and the King of Swords, as an example, compartmentalizes those type of aspects of the human experience or existence, or being susceptible, to the human condition, like the Devil's card represents a person being susceptible to the human condition, those urges, those desires, being confronted with allowing your fire to combust or getting to a place where you control it, And so when you start talking about runes have certain meanings associated with them, and they span from a particular culture. Oh, we didn't talk about so much on my channel, and it's all accumulating. And so, runes come from a particular culture. They have the symbols on it that you have to understand the symbols. Once you understand the symbols, you have to understand the meaning, and then you got to sit with them. And again, you run it through yourself. You personalize it and really get to meet the consciousness associated with them. And I don't know much about runes. I got some over there. I've been studying them for years, but I ain't got it down. But what I'm saying is it covers an aspect of this existence, just like the tarot does, as does astrology. Astrology talks about the heavens and its relationship to the earth and us here on the earth, and the movement of those celestial bodies and the seasons and how we interact and have an exchange with it. So I bring that up because we're in a time period where we have to be able to begin to see, and being stuck in our old ways has not allowed us to see. It was a time period in the history of humanity that we just weren't educated enough to be able to see, understand, and or comprehend. But here we are at this point in time in the history of humanity where we're much more educated than we have been, and we have the resources. And some of the resources exist in divination. And what am I saying? That divination allows you to organize the information that you come to know in this earth so that you can begin to see a clear picture. If we don't get a clear understanding about what we're doing and what is going on, based on what I'm saying, but who am I? We are descending down a hill. I don't know how much longer either of us have on this earth or in this realm. I don't know if we will incarnate reincarnate into back into this realm, and maybe the dynamics or the details associated with this realm had changed. Means it's a desolate desert. So we're gonna incarnate here in another physical form, which would be horrible. Who wants to be a bug? Okay. Anyway, I'm just all over the place, rolling, rambling. But maybe your offspring is coming, and they're going to come into a place that is literally like a hell-like landscape. That's what we're up against. And this is what I'm telling you what's so strange. And then I'm going to close it, y'all. Thank you for coming to visit me here at Can Angels Fly Tarot and more, and allowing me to perform this Aquarius Rant and Vent, because everything be getting on my nerves. Anyway, so what was I going to say? I forgot. I was going to say, because I was talking about the youngsters next generation coming in, and some generations down coming in here into a hell-like state. The real what I don't understand, and I know that we aren't made to know the truth, to know. Has it stopped? Everything. I don't know how long it's been. Okay. But I cannot comprehend at all how it is possible for 7.8 plus billion people and growing, the majority, to wake up and make these changes, these adjustments that are required to be made in order for us to create a reality that is pleasing. But I guess I have to look at it from more of a spiritual perspective. See, there's certain things that we can't see. We can't put our hands on it because it is being divinely orchestrated, coming from the souls of 7.8 plus billion people growing, whoever we really are, whatever we really are, whatever we really represent, because we can say one thing, and be something totally different. So it don't matter what we got to say. We can talk all we want. We can do whatever we want to do. But on a spiritual level, who we are, 7.8 plus billion people and growing, whoever we really are, is what is going to end up manifesting and creating our reality. If truly the majority of humanity at this time and forward are really good souls, then we ultimately will manifest like that heaven-like state here on earth, something pleasing. But if we are truly some low vibrational entities, we gonna manifest that in reality. So I guess I don't worry about it, Nancy, how it's gonna get done, because for sure enough, it's gonna get done. It's gonna get done. And so I guess it doesn't even matter until you're here in a hell-like state. It don't even matter. Okay. Just thinking. Until next time, y'all. Bye.